West Coast. I'm a young gun looking for a smoke show. Quick to draw and I shoot to kill. Do it all for the thrill of it. I'm an outlaw, baddest on the East Coast. I'm a free bird looking for my next show. Quick to draw and I shoot to kill. Do it all for the thrill of it. I'm an outlaw, cooler than the West Coast. I'm a young gun looking for a smoke show. Quick to draw and I shoot to kill. Do it all for the thrill of it. I'm an outlaw, baddest on the East Coast. I'm a free bird looking for my next show. Quick to draw and I shoot to kill. Do it all for the thrill of it.
Hear that sound, the scene of the stars, song of the sky. It's my time, I know who I am. Keep pushing the line. Always going up, always going up, going up. It don't matter what, it don't matter what, don't matter what. Always going up, always going up, going up. It don't matter what, it don't matter what. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line. Push me down and I get back up. Come try and find me. 'Cause I know that I'm strong enough. Everything that I've been building up. Now I know what I'm searching for. My eyes are open. I got the power to change my path. Been learning to let go of the past. Always going up, always going up, going up. It don't matter what, it don't matter what, don't matter what. Always going up, always going up, going up. It don't matter what, it don't matter what. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line. Always going up, always going up. Why? It don't matter what, it don't matter. Always going up, always going up. Why? It don't matter what, it don't matter what. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line. Why? It don't matter. Catch me, catch me. You can catch me at the finish line.
lagged and I can't sleep. I'm still on PST. My head's up in the clouds. Almost feels like a dream. Blue waves of ecstasy. We're lost until we're found. So light it up. Fall in love. Say too much. Just enough. Oh my, my. Oh hell yes. For tonight we'll be stars until the morning comes. We'll be stars until the morning comes. We'll be stars until the morning comes. Sunlight wakes me up, but I don't give up. I'm going back to bed. Got 2 more hours till it's checkout time. Got you warm and naked by my side. Let's do it all again. So light it up. Fall in love. Say too much. Just enough. Oh my, my. Oh hell yes. For tonight we'll be stars until the morning comes. We'll be stars until the morning comes.
Flash is in, set no more! Victory is written! Immortals claim their
Hello to everyone watching around the world. Good evening and good morning wherever you're watching from. Icons 2022 knockouts continue today with live coverage straight from the Suntech Convention Center in Singapore. Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Digon Gonzalez, and joining me today for all the big wrinkly brain analysis of every player, every gank, every play, and every game, it's Riku and Omo. Riku, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I cannot believe at the end of the day, we're going to have just 4 teams left.
Only 4. The Icons is speeding by here, Omo.
Zoom.
just like that, and that's why I'm not feeling so great. It's going a bit too quick.
Well, I hope that the gameplay will pump you up because we've got a lot of great gameplay coming to you. Now, yesterday, we had the first day of quarterfinals, so I wanted to get your thoughts here, my big wrinkly-brained analysts. What were your big takeaways? And we'll start with you, Omo.
Well, for me, I really think WRL still looks really, really good, really, really strong. But my takeaways from yesterday is that they're not invincible. They're not unbeatable. KT Roaster took a game from Nova yesterday, a team which is supposed to be one of the best here, and they made it look so competitive in the next couple of games as well. And of course, even though FPX kind of did stomp all over RRQ, the mechanics check looked close. And I feel like that's where the WRL can be challenged here today, mechanics-wise.
Ooh, actually, I super agree with you there. And I mean, you mentioned RRQ. RRQ yesterday, unfortunately, had to say goodbye as they had to face FPX yesterday. They were 0-3. But it doesn't change the fact that they were still very happy. This is after they were defeated, by the way. And they still look very happy, look very satisfied with their performance. And it's so understandable because when we look back at their journey, year 0 of Wild Rift, year 1 rather, they were 5th place at the WCSPH.
Yeah.
They were 3rd at the WCS finals, and now look at them, top 8 at Icons. That is a huge jump. That is a huge achievement.
And again, when we think about the personalities of these teams in the first ever Icons Global Championship, this is going to be a team that we're going to remember for a very, very long time. So again, shout out to RRQ and kind of lightening the spirit here. But to put a damper on it, just take a look at Omo's DMs as Omo the Curse.
How did you guys get my
struck
DMs?
yesterday because you said, "Wow, roster wide looking pretty good." We don't have the clip here, but basically you said that, and then people coming at you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, this is about all the DMs I get. So this is how it usually looks. I have no issue with this, but I take issue with the fact that he went for my glasses. What's wrong with my glasses?
I think it's okay.
It's the best part of my whole look.
Yeah. Stop
Yeah.
jinxing games, you stupid spectacled, beautiful man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was so pretty, we had to go ahead and block it out. All right, now when Icons first started, everyone on the broadcast team picked their top 5 players to watch. Obviously, mine yesterday that showed up, Analyst Egon, not so good early on, but after a couple of weeks, it's time to revise the list for these 2 analysts. So first up, let's take a look at Riku's top 5.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think there are a lot of changes, but mainly, as you can see, there's Chaz and Helios, one of the, again, best mid and jungle duos we had here at the Icons 2020. And then I switched it up a little bit. We got to see more of 0711's performance back in, a couple of games from the group stages up until now, and he is just super strong.
Yeah, again, it feels like your original list is
Uh-huh.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's super stacked.
Yeah, again, I had a lot of copium on the North America train. Again, Stewart's yesterday. Stewart's calling the game. Stewart, I know you're listening over there at the casting desk. His was pretty
saw,
awful.
yeah.
It was pretty bad. Omo, what about yours, brother?
Well, you don't need to change your top 5 list. You don't need to update it if you're never really wrong. So if you look at my top 5 list right here, these are the players I expected to come in the tournament swinging, and I feel like most of them did. All junglers, because that's the name of the game right now. It's a jungler's game. It's a jungler's meta. The only one I think you can say kind of slumped a bit from what we expected from his performance in the WCS is, of course, going to be Zissou. But I have big hopes for him here today to pop off.
Ooh, a little bit of Hey, you know
A
what?
little bit of copium.
You're starting us off with
Yeah.
WCS copium, all right?
It's okay. It's
Again,
okay.
Look, WNS is gone.
Yep.
I have to take over now. It's our time to cope.
Yeah.
WREC also, they started it. They started it. Now WCS looking to be the only team to take down one of the WRL squads because they have been dominating Icon so far. So, for our next segment, it's only fitting that this round of Coca-Cola Wild Reactions highlights that region. So, you send us the best Wild Rift clips using the hashtag RiftPopOff. So here are our favorites, starting with 4 Chinese influencers. We take a look at the Coca-Cola Wild Reaction, starting with Orang Big.
Yeah, we've got Orang Big here on this Olaf. Got exhausted, fine, because he still gets to play like a madman here on this second part of this clip. Look at him, just hacking and slashing, ignoring everybody else in the back line, and boom, just so good, so clean, really big plays.
And then we have Klaus here on the Fiora and TF, like a montage here, Oma.
Yeah, a bit of a montage coming in from Klaus. The last play is my personal favorite. Plays the Tryndamere as well, has a lot of pop-offs coming in, diving all the turrets. Man just does not care.
Yeah,
Insane.
right under the turret. Then we've got Laobai on the Darius.
Woo!
And
Oh,
it
look at
always
that.
feels good when you get the resets.
What?
Woo!
That is yummy.
Always
That
when
is-
they flash and you get the ult off,
Yeah.
Woo! It's a full meal.
you get the value. And then MTDD down here on the bottom side of the map with a Pantheon play.
So clutch on this one, healing up with the Conqueror proc on his Q and then getting the Honey Fruit all the way at the end of this. He didn't even need to use it earlier on, just knowing his limits so well.
Then Lockwood Art here, now showing what a good Riven looks like.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. Started off with a 1v2, no problem. He's solo HP here as well. Able to dodge out, and look at this, next part, boom!
Ooh.
He is able to get a clutch shield and survives the entire play.
Yeah, next up we have Red Suo, not to be confused with Blue Suo, and whenever you see the Suo name, you know what champ he's playing, Omo.
You know he's experienced with this champion. Look at how he uses the minion wave. Look at how he baits them into the corner like that. Sets up for the big tree man. Ritzaw knows exactly what he's doing.
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Again,
Very
Red Suo picking that one up. Next up, we have the legend himself, Pedro Do 2662469 on the Akali, picking up 3, and then 2 more to finish it off to get himself a pentakill and a big pop-off to close off our Coca-Cola Wild Rift reactions. And if you want to be featured on the broadcast, submit your own clips using the hashtag RiftPopOff. And for those of you in Singapore, come by the Icons fan zone at the Marina Bay Sands. Awesome free food and cocktails after 9 p.m. You can also compete in our quick match and mini games for exclusive game prizes and cool Icon swag. And of course, enjoy the games on the big
Yeah.
screen. There's a bunch of bean bags all over the
Beanbags.
place. There's going to be a lot of things
Yeah.
to do. We got to go see it. What was your favorite part, Oma?
Well, I think the swag is awesome. You guys could definitely come check that out. You can't get this one though. That's exclusive.
Wow.
There are some cool ones to
There
win.
are
What's your
some
favorite
really
part,
cool
Riku?
ones though. Yeah.
Well, for me, it has to be the beanbags, right? The beanbags surrounding the big screen in front of you. It's so nice to chill with your friends and watch some really good Wild Rift
I'm
today.
just very surprised you didn't say it was the free glug glug and nom nom.
The nom nom.
Fruit of the drink right here.
That's true. That's also one of the best.
All right. Hey, so now we take a look at today's action. We've got 2 of the best of 5 quarterfinals today. And unlike the last 2 stages, but like yesterday, a loss means you're going home. No double elimination to save you. First up, it is Flash Wolves versus J-Team. And then after that, it's the battle of number 1 versus number 2. The number 1 squad from the WCS, Team Flash versus the number 2 squad from the WRL, JD Gaming. And as we see those 2 matches on the docket for today, what is your one big, bold prediction for the last day of quarterfinals, Riku?
Okay, I gotta say, my bold prediction is half bold prediction. So for me, I think the grand finals is gonna be, of course, FPX versus, here's the kicker, J-Team.
J-Team?
J-Team. That I am solidifying that. I know I'm gonna be right.
Over JDG?
Yeah.
Doubt.
Or Team Flash?
Doubt.
Oh,
I
doubt.
feel like whoever wins that side of the matchup goes to the finals.
Whoa! Is that your bold prediction?
No, that's not my
pretty
bold
What?
prediction. We ain't seen nothing yet. My bold prediction is that we won't see 4 WRL teams in the semifinals. That means that today, 1 WCS team, I predict, will beat a WRL team.
Oh. I wonder which one you predict. The copium is on full
Spoiler.
effect here. Okay, spoiler. All right, let's take a look at those updated brackets because we know that we have 2 teams from the WRL on one side of the bracket from yesterday's matches. It was Nova Esports and Fun Plus Phoenix FPX, the number 1 squad from the WRL, taking care of business against RRQ and Rolster Y. So today, again, the winners will play themselves. That's why we had yesterday's matches play at the same time, and then today's match will play again today, and then there's no extra day to prep against each other. Now, Team Flash and JDG will be taking on the prospect of the WRL is very scary. Can Flash pull off the miracle and keep the Southeast Asian region in it?
Yes.
What do y'all think?
Yes.
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 That's it. All
Full
right.
stop.
If that's the case, we take a look at JDG versus Team Flash. How do they do it here, Riku?
I think it's very important, right? When we look at the strongest member of JDG, it is Singdo. And so far, a lot of the teams have been having a big problem on shutting him down. And that's the reason why I feel like Team Flash, if they do want to win, they gotta focus on that. They gotta focus on him. Make sure to kill him. Make sure to activate early roams. We're talking about that big early 5-minute window before Rift Herald and Dragon spawns. That is your window. Keep invading him. Put him in the back foot right off the bat. That's their mission.
All right, Operation Zingdo, it's going to be tough because, again, coming after play-ins where everyone got to play, Zingdo leading the tournament in kills. He's been the focal point of that squad, and as you said, it's been a jungler's world here. Oma, what's your key to that matchup?
Well, I feel like when you look at the WRL junglers, a lot of the times the names that get brought up, it's going to be long. It's going to be 0711.
Yeah.
But I feel like, to my eye at least, Singdo has looked so good. And you see what he's done throughout Icons as well. I feel like the winning formula for JDG is also the jungle matchup. It's a code which has been cracked by Nova already. Shut down Zissou. JDG just need to repeat that, I feel.
All right, well, we'll see if they will be able to do that in the next matchup. For me, though, if I am going to contribute to the hopium just a little bit, I think out of the last 8 teams, Team Flash haven't reached the full potential that we've seen them do in the WCS. So that might be scary for some, but if you believe in the power of potential, if you believe in 4, then you feel good about Team Flash. It's like, wow, we haven't played that well and we're already here?
Thank you, D-Gon.
Yeah. I think it's there. I mean, right now it kind of feels like Empty and Ellie, you know, they haven't quite lived up to what they've done in the past. Empty's living up to his name right now. He's leaving some plays on floor. He needs to be more like Fully right now. We need some Fully out of Empty on the bottom side of the map. All right. In just a little bit, though, we'll have our first match of the day. It's another WCS WRL showdown in Flash Wolves versus J-Team. And we had the chance to talk with Sarah about this matchup and the victory over Burium United that brought Flash Wolves into the final stage. Let's take a listen.
嗨，大家好，我是闪电李瑟拉。我现在的想法是怎么说？其实我对这个系列赛的表现没有很满意，就不止对于我自己，还有我们团队，因为我觉得我们的赢法太奇怪了。那最后也是因为对方的上路平2次吧，两次的胜利都是因为他的失误，所以才造成了我们的胜利。其实我认为我们队伍在训练赛中一直有所成长，但是在比赛中看起来并不是这么一回事。对啊，可能我们训练赛的表现 全没有在比赛中有做出来，因为我们在训练赛中的胜利基本上都是碾压性的。那我希望这种事情能发生在我们的比赛上。其实我认为战胜的几率最多应该只有25%，因为我认为 WRL 赛区的对手非常非常的强劲，就有点像在英雄联盟里面那时候韩国统治着整个联盟的那种感觉。但我认为25%的几率也不算太低，因为毕竟还是有希望的。以 J Team 来讲的话，应该想先杀打野吧，因为毕竟这个游戏是打野的游戏。希望我们能在新加坡待得越来越久，然后让你们比赛看得越来越多。
I like those words there from Isera, and also showing, again, 25% chance of making it in with the way that they're playing right now, and he doesn't feel satisfied with it yet, Riku.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, he talked about how he doesn't feel satisfied with that win. It felt like his enemy later was making mistakes here and there. And now I feel like this is going to be a very huge challenge because he's going to be up against Dawn, who has been one of the most consistent top laners in the Icons tournament. So again, if you try to 1v2 him, 1v3 Dawn, he hardly ever dies. He always is very consistent with his KDA. And again, Isera is definitely going to be challenged for that matchup.
Yeah, and Omo, I know you got a lot to say about that, so we'll get into this matchup first by taking a look at the rosters for both teams. First up, J Team. Again, this is the number 2? Oh, sorry, number 4. Number 4 squad here from the WRL, but they've looked so darn good. I almost thought they were number 2 with Don 128, Cherry, Pan, Barry, and DY as the roster here. And for the opposite side, Flash Wolves, again, this is the squad from the WCS that has been moving around pieces a lot. Don't adjust your screen. That's right. It is Baya back into the mid lane, and the focal point for this squad, Bruce, moving down to the Dragon lane here, Omo.
This is a very interesting adaptation for sure. I feel like when they played around Locking, the team looked much more solid. Locking has been playing with this roster for close to 2 years at this point. He's familiar with the structures. But with Baya coming back in, that raises a lot of questions. I feel like, to me, that's issuing a challenge down to the Dragon lane, saying that Bruce and Eason can win any bot lane 2v2 matchup.
That means I'm definitely expecting AD carries, like traditional AD carries for sure. Like we're looking at Lucian again. We're looking at Vayne and Kai'Sa potentially. I mean, Draven even. And I think that could be the potential surprise because, again, this is do or die. No lower bracket anymore.
No, definitely not. And, you know, I think if we have to focus on one game plan, though, Omo, it's got to be the fact that the laners for this squad on J Team are some of the strongest in the WRL. As we've said, junglers have been a lot of the focus, but J Team, they kind of bucked the trend there.
Yeah, I said it's a jungler's world. Sarah said it's a jungler's world. I said Cookie is a great player. But when you look at J Team, I think what's unique about them as a WRL team is even though they have a great jungler, they play well around their jungler. They are also a very laner-centric team. If you look at players like Dawn, players like Pun, players like Barry, you see the MVPs that they get. You see their highlight performances in game. And you can tell the J Team as a team, they're comfortable playing around their laners to carry as well.
Yeah, and you see how the MVPs have been spread across the squad here so far here at Icons. They all have firepower here, Riku.
Poor support's getting no love, though.
I mean, okay, gotta hand it to DY. He has a lot of shining moments, especially in a 2v2 outlook. So this is going to be a very scary matchup again when we look at Bruce and Eason at the bottom side. We all know DY is going to pull the trigger immediately.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see how that plays out for me when I take a look at this WCS squad and Flash Wolves. Something that came up during the elimination matches. A lot of the time you figure out what you're made out of when your back is against the wall. Isera, who we got to hear from earlier, kind of popped up here as a third carry because we knew that it's the Bruce show. Everything goes through Bruce. Number 2 is Cookie, who's been kind of something else as a secondary carry. But Isera got a ton of resources in their matches against Omega, in their match against Burium United, and was able to carry on the Camille, on the Lucian, and had himself a great couple of matches here.
He definitely looked good in those games, but can I issue a counterpoint here, Digon?
Wait, after that sidestep.
Yeah, okay. Sarah's playing against a different caliber of Baron laner here today in Dawn. Noel is good. He does his job very well. Huya is good. He does his job very well. But Don is going to be a standout player. He's going to be a highlight player. And I feel like that's where Ysera will fall short.
Yeah, and I feel like Ysera has to buckle up, especially at the first few minutes of the game before Rift Herald, because you know Cherry and Don are going to do a little bit of something aggressive play. He's going to keep diving him.
Do a little bit of roaming.
Exactly. So he has to buckle up and
Come on,
prepare
buckle
for
up
that.
with us.
I'm not. I don't think Ysera has any strap tight enough to buckle in for this one. I feel like he's in for a wild ride. He wants to get off Mr. J Team's wild ride for sure.
Well, the reason why I find it so interesting is because we saw yesterday with Rolster Y and with RRQ, they decided to put their draft resources into different players each time, especially RRQ. At first, they started, who did they put it in? They put it in Helios into Zed, and then game 2, they put it down to the bottom side of the map onto Marky, and then in game 3 with the Zaya, and then in game 3, I think that was the one where they put it to Chaz. Is that? I think they went into
Chaz,
Yeah.
Chaz,
And so,
definitely.
like, we've seen teams now with the back against the wall that they have different strategies that they can pull out. I think Ysera popping up, being like, hey, look, Camille, something to think about here. I guess we'll see what happens. So I'm excited to see how the draft kind of shakes up here and where the resources come from against the team that is punching up. Right? It feels like a lot of these teams from the WRL side, they're the favorites. We know that coming in, and they've acted like the favorites. I think there's something to be said, Omo, about being the favorites and being comfortable in that position and forcing the other team to come at you and they make mistakes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times you see that in the draft as well. It shows the mindset that these WRL teams have coming into the game. They know they're better. They know they don't need fast plays, look for timings. Even though they are aggressive, they are proactive, they're comfortable drafting, scaling, waiting for mid-game, waiting for late game, and they know that when it comes time to clutch, we will win.
All right, well, here we go. Games are about to start real soon. Predictions. Who's taking the series? Quick.
J-Team.
Oh, JT, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Oh, you
J
want
Team, I guess.
We all went
Yeah,
J-Team,
Gonna make it out. You
guys.
said
Team Flash,
WC
later
team's gonna
today.
make it.
Later, there's
now,
still the other
J-Team.
one today.
All right, okay. We've
3-1.
got our predictions locked on in. The players are getting set, which means day 2 of knockouts is ready to begin. 2 teams move on, 2 go home. Will there be an upset? Let's find out. Icons 2022 starts right now.
《面对现在的比赛，我觉得大家实力都是旗鼓相当。我们的目标只有冠军吧。
我们之间感觉都没有特别大的能力差距。
你们只要一失误的话，我们会牢牢抓住这个机会。
我目前打的这些队伍，感觉是意料之中的，就心情比较平静的。
目前并没有遇到太强大的敌人。首先最想要淘汰应该是绝庭，然后一路领先到底。
如果你们太小看我们的话，可能你们怎么输掉的，你们都不知道。
至于 TF， 我感觉应该是已经赢了。就来自中国赛区的才算是我们的对手吧。他们的实力
我们已经太了解了，已經看穿他們。
Ở cái trận thi đấu sắp tới thì tụi em sẽ chứng minh cho tất cả mọi người thấy là đại diện số 1 khu vực WCS Final kinh dị đến mức nào. Em nghĩ là tụi em đủ sức để vô địch 2 trận.
就胜利的感觉记得挺清晰的。 觉得就是取得的预料之中的成绩吧。不管怎么样，就是赢下这场比赛。
Lots to expect here at the Icons quarterfinals. And we have more action here with J-Team coming up against Flash Wolves. It's Flash Wolves' time to shine, stand up, and show what they're preparing for us in scrims. And of course, J-Team have been looking so good, leading the charge with all the stats in their favor. Highest KDA, Stuart, I think you mentioned.
Yeah, Berry in the Dragon Lane, highest average KDA, 12.64. It just shows, though, even before, you know, the analyst desk was mentioning, this J team, they have it all. Every single lane can win. The jungle, the top lane, the mid lane, the Dragon Lane as well, and not to mention DY in the support role.
So for Flash Wolves here today, they need to step up, step off the stage for the last time in this one. Oh, here we are on camera now.
Hello.
Hey guys, welcome to the Icons Global Championship.
Oh, smooth. I can't do that. Mine's just plain.
Because you haven't got to go to the watch party yet, right?
Ah,
there we go. That's
we'll
your
go
answer.
after this.
You gotta
We'll
go to
go
the
after
watch
this.
party, you know, over at MBS for you guys back home for now. You guys are joining me and Stuart here. I almost got through that with a straight face, but I lost it to it.
Couldn't do it. Right at the end, you lost it just at the end.
Let's start talking a little bit about what we have in store for us today here, Stuart, because not only do we have two amazing matches, we have two situations here, WRL versus WCS. Yep. Let's start with the first one here. On our screens now, J-Team Flash Wolves.
Yeah, J-Team, I think coming into this, you know, really dominant performance. They've only dropped one game this entire Icon so far. Flash Wolves have a bit of an up and down tournament so far at Icons. Been changing the roster as well. We can see the buyers now come back into the roster, so we see how that shapes things up. I think with Locking, they kind of had that flexibility, what they did versus Burium. They had like Bruce and Locking swapping between duo lane and mid lane. But now with Buyer back in, wouldn't be surprised if Buyer just stays in that mid lane, Bruce in the Dragon lane.
I mean, we've had a bit of a strange situation here with Flash Wolves because Flash Wolves has been up against teams where they were happy to be on the red side. You know, they had compositions that ignored largely what the opponents wanted to do. But now against J-Team, they're playing on the blue side to get the strong first pick, and this was something that teams really wanted yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday you can see the Nova, they really loved the blue side. They really wanted that first pick priority. The great thing about blue side as well is that you can actually target ban. Most of the side on red side, you know, J-Team, they're going to have to ban out the likes of Yumi, the likes of Karma, you know, these enchanters that are really strong, and potentially that Jace as well. As the bans come through, we can see that Karma is still up and available. I think it will have to be that, or they leave everything open. So Senna is another one that's open. That's been Berry's most played champion, and Bruce is one of Bruce's main champions, but instead they go for the Karma. And I think the Karma is great because it allows Bruce to potentially play the hyper carry.
At the same time, Flash Wolves are also looking to pick up whatever is remaining afterwards in the second rotation. Of course, that is going to be the Senna, something you've talked about a ton here. And fun fact, all right, so Stuart and I were doing some research about this before before the day started. Cherries are actually not berries. They are in fact a drupe. And a drupe is classified by having a thin skin, flesh, and then a seed in the center. So stuff like plums and cherries are not berries, they are drupes.
I didn't actually expect you to bring that up.
Perfect. Great analysis, by the way. And this is entirely relevant because...
Nothing to do with Wild Rift at
because... because Cherry, you know, is a great jungler, right?
Okay, where are you going with this?
And troops belong in the jungle. Let's jump back to what we have on screen right now. Senna Singed for J-Team, Kha'Zix, and Garrett for Flash Wolves.
This is only the first game, Grant. We've still got potentially a full 5 games. You've already lost me. Yeah, Kha'Zix going into the hands of Cookie. I think Kha'Zix has been one of the biggest priority junglers, I think, in the entire tournament. Really good during the mid-game and late game in terms of scaling. You have Garen as well for Ysera. Interesting enough that it's gone for Garen. It could also be mid-lane Garen, because I think the Camille most of the time goes into Ysera, but obviously that's banned, so it's maybe a second choice. But for the side of J-Team, they have the big front line. You know, they have the Singed, they have the Wukong as the front line, they have the Senna in the back line as well. The interesting part about J-Team is that that normally when they play the Senna,
Right.
they don't really like to go for the Nasus. We sometimes see that Nasus being paired with Senna, but we've actually seen Senna for J Team, you know, DY likes to prefer to go for the Galio or even the Gragas,
Right.
which means that, you know, this kind of shows the potential of DY and it shows what they want. You know, DY is one of the best roaming supports in this entire tournament, you know, in the mid lane, in the Baron lane, trying to invade as well, roaming around with Cherry to be able to get that advantage and allow J Team to control the map.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because Flash Wolves, I think, also identified that the Gragas ban, they don't want to allow that for J Team. And also largely because I feel like Flash Wolves are a team that has similar champion pickups to J Team, right? We understand that there are always going to be meta picks, but it tends to be a lot more similar between teams like Flash Wolves, like J Team, than other teams, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think, you know, the bans on the other side as well. We can see that, you know, they scared of Bruce. They're very, very scared of Bruce. You know, Lucia ban, Xayah ban. So the other pick that is open is the Galio. But I think, like you said, you know, Eason is another player that likes to play, you know, Gragas and Galio. But there you go. There's the Galio pick.
Stand your way first.
That's going to be on the hands of DY with Berry down in the duo lane with the Senna. So it leaves the last pick potentially a flex pick. You know, the Wukong can be played in the jungle and it can also be played in the Baron lane as well. Both Dawn and Cherry have played Wukong in this in Icon so far, so leaving that flex pick till last, which is another great thing about the red side.
Flash Wolves now have to decide how they want to try and deal with this. A lot of combo potential here from J Team. You have the Wukong going in, the Galley to follow up with, of course the Sage with the pickup potential. So I'm looking for Flash Wolves. Maybe they just need something that can help them get away. Karma gives them some like mobility, some movement speed, but it's still going to be difficult to get away from a lot of the hard crowd control we see from J Team.
Yeah, J Team, you know, JT's comp just shouts at me, engage, and oh, Bruce's first game back in the Dragon Lane, back on a hyper carry, and I mentioned it, you know, the Karma allows you to play these hyper carries because Karma is the champion, you know, has the shields, has the peeling back as well. I think it's the first time we've actually seen Vayne in
the AR.
Yeah. Augmented reality.
Is that just like a little tumble, a little spin?
Yeah, a little tumble. First ability.
Very
nice
cool.
Little tumble. But yeah, Bruce in the hands of Vayne. I'm really, really excited to see this, you know. The bot lane that, you know, we've been hyping up with Flash Wolves, you know, Bruce has been a player that mainly played mid lane during the WCS, but now has to go, you know, transition into the duo lane with Bayer coming into the roster. But yeah, that duo lane is going to be very, very scary. And I think Vayne's a really good pick because if you look at J Team, all of it shouts frontline, all of it shouts tankiness. And what does Vayne love to do? Vayne loves to shred tanks with all of her true damage as well. So I think in this game, it's going to be all eyes on Bruce to see what he can do. But like you said, though, you know, J Team is all about engage, all about going in. They want to try and shut down this Vayne, and they have a lot of tools to try and shut down the Vayne as well.
That's a big potential. You have the Darius, you have the Singe, things they could find the Vayne in bad situations. So Flash Wolves really have to position incredibly well against the opponents here.
Yeah, definitely. You have the Corki in the mid lane as well. They kind of go for like this double carry composition. You know, Corki in the mid lane.
It's a backup plan.
Even though, yeah, exactly. It's a plan B. But we've seen with Flash Wolves, you know, they do have other carries as well. You know, you have Cookie in the jungle that has been performing really well. You have Ysera, like they said on the analyst desk, has also been performing very well, especially against Omega and Burium. They put everything in like the Ysera basket. But this game is all about Bruce. This game is all about that Vayne pick. First game in the quarterfinals against J Team. And Bruce is like, give it all to me. I'm ready. I'm ready. Give me the Vayne. I'm prepared. I'm ready. And I'm really excited to get into this first game.
Well, there's a lot to be said still for this one, but we have to take a look as we get ready to go into game number one. J Team and Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves need to pull ahead with that first win, putting it all onto Bruce. Let's start this one by talking a little bit about a matchup that I'm curious to hear your thoughts about, Stuart. Ysera versus Dawn. Almost said that Dawn is a different caliber of player. How does Ysera stack up?
Yeah, sir. I mean, in this matchup, you know, you got Garen against Darius. I think in terms of the players itself, you know, Ysera has shown that he can be a carry, you know, especially on that Camille. But I think, as Omo said on the analyst desk, you know, Dawn is a completely higher level, and you can see there's already a lot of aggression down this duo lane. Both exhausts already blown, but I think Ysera is going to have a bit of a difficult time. But saying that, he is on the Garen duty, he is on tank duty as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him play maybe a little bit more passive. But at the same time, we can see Garen's, you know, yesterday Garen spin to wins, full damage Garen.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Tank is a state of mind. You're only a tank if you tell yourself, yeah, I'm a tank, I don't do damage here. But if you go in the mindset, yes, I will assassinate your Alistar, I'll take down your tanks. you are very much a damage dealer. You're an assassin, in fact.
We'll have to see what build Ysera goes for this game. Already starting off with the Ruby Crystal, so maybe going for the tanky approach. In terms of jungles as well, we got Cherry on a more tank utility jungler, I would say. You know, Wukong's not really known as a carry jungler. Saying that, Long yesterday on the Wukong got that nice cheeky triple kill on the river, so it just shows that Wukong does have the damage and the outplay potential. And then Cookie, on the other hand, I think is just going to be farming up, just trying to scale with Kha'Zix, but Cookie?
I love what Flashwolves were doing here, trying to go in for the Scuttle Crab, but at the same time, the response from J-Team. They push in the bot side, rotate over, try to put some pressure down. Good from Cookie, because Cherry down the bot side as well, he was able to take away the Scuttle Crab.
That was really, really risky, though, by Cookie, because their bot lane didn't have any prior, so Berry and DY were able to roam up, but he just walked forward. He was just like, yeah, I'm just going to take this crab, I'm just going to jump away. I don't really care if you know, deal enough damage, but to be honest, you know, Berry and DY don't really have that much damage, but Cookie able to smite that away and get the first Scuttle Crab. A trading Scuttle Crabs, I feel like. I think it was actually Dawn that took the top lane Scuttle Crab, so Cherry won't be able to get any Scuttle Crabs at all. DY goes in!
Flashing in for the Justice Punch, the knock-up onto Bruce, and an opportunity here for J-Team with first blood on the hyper carry from Flash Wolves.
This is the thing, is like, with Flash Wolves, I feel like you need to play a lot more passive in this duo lane, because you have the range disadvantage with the Vayne. You don't want to play aggressive, and you know, if you step up a little bit too far, DY has the opportunity, you know, E-flash forward into the taunt as well, and then Berry with the follow-up means that they get first bloods, and to be honest, it's too easy for J-Team. That is really too easy, and I feel like it's a little bit of a misplay by Bruce. I think you should realize that, you know, you're on the Vayne, you can just play back, you can play passive, just farm up, you don't need to trade at all, and you could just scale into late game, but instead they're going for these trades, and
we already start to see
first bloods.
Bruce falling behind in gold, you know, in a situation where up against the fasting Senna, where both sides tend to be a little bit behind in gold, they're actually ahead. You know, it's an interesting situation for Bruce to be in right now.
That is crazy. You can see that the supports are 1,000 gold ahead. You know, DY's 1,000 gold ahead of Eason, but that makes sense because when you're playing Senna, as you said, it's fasting Senna. For the people at home that don't know, it means that Senna, even though is the main carry, quote unquote, is going to be Galio taking all the farm, and Berry's jobs this game is just to get as many souls as possible. You can see Berry's just using the poke, and then DY is the one taking the farm, meaning that he's going to be able to build AP Galio, which looks like what he's going with the Rod of Ages, means he can deal a little bit more damage at the same time.
Very interesting start here from Berry, right? Going for the Proto Belt, just trying to move in, maybe get the snare somewhere. Very interesting start here for J-Team. They have a lot of pickoff potential, and I cannot emphasize this enough at this point, right? You look at what they have across the board. You have the upper hand from the Darius, you have the shoulder fling for the Singed. Of course, you have the crowd control for the Wukong and for the Galio.
There's a snare.
So Senna Embrace tries to pulls them in, but you can very quickly see what happens here, the impact and the response out from J-Team to quickly knock away Bruce. Not much HP left to play with, gets hit by the exhaust, and very quickly has to stop moving away.
But you can see the healing that's on the side of J-Team as well. You know, Berry has the grasp with the healing, also has the first ability for the healing. DY also has Font of Life. More healing, so it's just healing this dual lane, meaning they can stay there as well. And they're going to even try and take the first tower of the game.
Eason so low. Cookie might come down to bot side, but it looks like J-Team have already secured first start for themselves. Now we got to stop moving on to Eason. Eason flashes away, spots out danger.
And they're really focusing on this bot side. We were talking about Bruce, you know, Bruce needs to make sure that he doesn't fall too far behind. And if, you know, the Vayne can get a few items, and the Vayne can definitely, you know, roll over this game. But at the moment, it's J-Team and it's Cherry moving down to the bot side. They get an early first tower. And that's even before the objective spawn as well, which means that they can go back to base, they can use that money that they got from that first tower, which is going to be the team-wide gold that they get, go back, take the gold, and then also buy items, which means they can go to the objectives with a little bit of an advantage.
First spawn coming up, Cookie's going to make his way over to the Rift Tower. J-Team not want to give this
they
one
want to fight
up
this.
too easily. Rotate over. I believe Package picked up here for Baya, and so they get to fight for this position, but J-Team are so confident. Package or not, they do not care.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to contest this, I feel like. Flash Wolves, they don't have anything. They have the scaling on their side as well, but
look, they
just give it up. But at the same time, they're not even going to be able to take Dragon for this as well, because everyone from Flash Wolves was trying to move over to that Rift Hole, trying to get that before J-Team got onto the map. But the problem is they were way too slow. They were way too late to it. And now J-Team, they could have the potential to take both objectives.
What a dominant position here from J-Team. You can see how little vision it is for Flash Wolves across the map. Once you cut past that middle line in the river, Not much vision there at all. And so J-Team, they get to go back, reset, come back for the Dragon now, start setting themselves up for position.
And one thing I want to note with J-Team as well is what they did really, really well during playing the group stage. That J-Team did really well at controlling the map. You know, when they're ahead, if they have the little bit of an advantage, they go as a team, they group up, and they just... They can't, and they don't allow the enemy team to do anything at all. As you say that, Dawn
Flashes away and only has to put in his summoner spells to get away with his life.
going in mid as well.
Bruce again in danger. They're chasing after a kill. The Piercing Darkness picks it up. Cherry flashes in for a safe measure, but they find a second diving into the mid lane. J-Team controlling the rift.
And it's just too easy right now for J-Team. As I mentioned, you know, when they group together, they play as a unit. This is where J-Team can shine. You know, Dawn in the top side did really well. And Bayer, I don't know why you wouldn't auto-attack
the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm not too sure why you wouldn't hit the Rift Herald.
I know what he was thinking. It was like, okay, I'm gonna use my ultimate. It's gonna land. I'm gonna auto attack it one time. It's gonna go down. Because he's like, oh yeah, I have Hullbreaker. I do this. But he forgets that there are minions in the way, and he gets blocked by the minions, so he doesn't do enough damage.
Unfortunate. But again, this is Bruce tumbling forward. This is Bruce again playing aggressive, and you can't do this on a champion like Vayne. You know, if you're playing, I don't know, like a Draven or someone like that, you know, a champion like that has a more aggressive and a stronger early game, then that would be okay. But on the likes of Vayne, you can't tumble forward because, especially like you mentioned, you know, against the Galio, against the Wukong, they can easily just engage onto you, and then that's it. You know, when you're chain CC'd, the Karma can only do so much, can only heal and shield you so much, and now it's at a point of the game where J-Team, you know, about 5,000 gold lead already, and you can see that. You can look at the team gold. Every single one on J-Team is ahead of Flash Wolves. That's the first time I think I've ever seen that.
Even with the support players, because of the nature of Fasting Senna, here we have Cherry moving on to Ysera, bringing in D1 as well. They're fighting towards the jungle right now. Senna Embrace doesn't find that much done. Cherry finally gets taken down. Response here from Flash Wolves, fighting within their own jungle, but very quickly a response back from J-Team again by taking down Bruce.
Okay, they were able to pick off Cherry in the end. They were able to use Ysera's ultimate to be able to get it, which was all good for Flash Wolves. But on the other hand, they were able to pick off Bruce at the same time again. So a one-for-one trade. And look, this is what I was mentioning about J-Team. Once they get ahead, they move through the enemy junglers, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This is so brutal here, Stuart. Diving under the turret, it just does not look like the objective is even there. They get the walk out. Dawn lives again after 2 kills go over to J-Team.
And they just play with so much confidence. They're still playing aggressive, and even in the mid lane. This is jungle against mid lane, but Cherry might lose this one, though.
Divine Sunder gap, look at how much he's healing. He's just sustaining up so much. Every crushing blow does so much for Cherry here.
My God, the Divine Sunder, like you said, you know, the healing from the first ability, plus the healing from Divine Sunder as well, means that he can sustain up against Bayer, and that's even with Hullbreaker as well. He had Hullbreaker, so he had the extra armor and magic resist as well, and he was still able to win out that trade. And now for Flash Wolves, you have to do something. I feel like Flash Wolves, they're just running out of time already, to be honest with you. I feel like, you know, with this comp, you need to wait until you scale into the mid and late game, but it's at the point of the game already that it's just like, I think even if you get into the mid and late game, J-Team have already taken so much. They've taken the first tower, the first dragon, the first Rift Herald. The second Rift Herald's up, and look, you can see J-Team, they're already there. They're one step ahead of Flash Wolves. They're even going to try and kill Bayer.
Catch on to Bayer, who has the package, so will be able to get away despite the efforts from Pan to stop him. Ever watched the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake? And it's like, it's like everyone has like a timer on their watch, right? Well, I'm gonna focus on this for a second. I'll get back to that point because Flash was respawning down the bottom side. Rift Herald being picked up by J-Team towards the other end. DY comes to the bottom side here, try protect Dawn, but will ultimately get taken down. A 2 for Rift Herald exchange across the map.
I like this from Flash Wolves. You know, they're trying to make a proactive play, but at the same time, you can see J-Team. You know, you take one thing on the map, J-Team will take something else. They take the mid lane tower, which obviously did take that Rift Herald hit in the early game as well. They were even pushing in the Baron lane as well, so they're losing more and more. And it even gets a charge on the inhibitor tower as well.
I felt like there was a smite angle.
Did he have, he did have smite up as well.
I think so. Okay, I'm not gonna think about this. Not gonna think about it anymore. The Rift Herald does what it does. All right.
I feel like Rift Herald, you've just flamed Flash Wolves twice now.
In time, right? It's like that. So you have like the timer on your your hand, and it tells you how much time you have. It's like your global currency, right? It's like Flash Wolves right now. You know, they're left with like a couple of minutes.
A little bit, yeah.
And they're like running to like pick up more time from like their friend. So like there's that scene in Time. You know, when you need was the mom was running over to Justin Timberlake trying to pick up on time. Does not get there, and I feel like that's what's happening to Flash Wolves now. They've got no, but like they have Ardent Sensor on Eason. They have 2 items on Bruce, but he takes so much damage from Barry. Barry has nothing right now, realistically, and he's
getting caught again. He's tumbling forward. He's playing aggressive, but he might just be dead again.
Gets caught by the exhaust. He steps forward just 1 second too long. And J-Team very quickly punished that by taking down Bruce yet again. There we go. That's that scene. He's running towards him, running towards Justin Timberlake, and then gets caught and dies. That's the end.
Very good reference. And
Thank you.
And even Ysera now. Ysera is definitely running out of time.
Oh.
Ysera is trying to run away. He's trying to get help. He's calling all the help in the world, but unfortunately for him, he just has 3 tanky members of J-Team, and that's 1 dead Garen. Don't normally say that too much. A dead Garen. Garen's normally a tank or something, you know, normally gets kills, and this time it's the other way around. This time it's actually Garen the one that's dying.
Ysera chose violence, though. He went for the Star's Gauge Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
That's definitely a choose violence build.
I think it was the similar build as yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
With, you know, more aggressive Garen build. I think when Soraida's Grudge, 3rd item.
He looked at it and was like, yeah, I could do that. I could definitely do that.
Whatever you could do, I could do better. But unfortunately, Ysera can't do better this game because J-Team, they have near enough of, well, what's that, 8,000 gold leads at the moment, 7,000 gold leads. And the one thing I love about J-Team, like I mentioned, is that when they get a gold lead, they're not worried, they're not afraid to go into enemy territory, go into enemy jungle, get the deep vision. You can see the vision already on the bot side. You know, there's deep vision for J-Team in the bot side of the map.
Right.
There's 1 ward right there, which you can see on the map right now, at the bottom of your screen. 1 ward there, you've got another ward in the bot side of the map, and they're going to look to do this. You'll be seeing J-Team play aggressive and look to try and get deep vision, because with their comp, they have great pick potential. They can look for flanks with DY, and you can see DY at the moment, he's moving through the enemy territory, and might even try and catch up Bayer. And again, Bayer has to use his package defensively.
The package used trying to get some vision towards the Baron side, which makes sense with Flash Wolves now. But honestly, at this point, J-Team just have so much control. Yep. And it's one of the hallmark kind of the abilities of these amazing teams to be able to use the advantage they have to establish an amazing vision line. You can see the kind of fog of war set up for Flash Wolves, only vision towards that side of their jungle.
Look at this!
And of course, Bruce going down yet again means J-Team pick up yet another catch on the Vayne. We'll have to see if this means they want to try and go for the Baron, or if they're going to wait out for that. Well, they go for initiation, try and dive them in with the Emperor Hand, pulls in Cookie. Cookie goes into stasis. J-Team starting to come through. Dawn hits the ultimate, lands it onto the Kha'Zix, takes down Inhibitor mid lane, and are opening up the game.
Oh, this Inhibitor down. Let's Inhibit down in 13 minutes in this game. They took the first tower about 4.5 minutes. They took the first Rift Tail. They took the first Dragon. Honestly, ever since then, Flash Wolves have struggled to get back into this game. It's been J-Team dominating. You know what we call that Death Brush? We call it Fnatic Death Brush. Right there. The Fnatic Death Brush.
They're not even in Wild Rift right now. So I feel like we can afford to give it to somebody else. What do you want?
We call it a J-Team Death Brush.
We call it a cherry brush. a droop brush.
The cherries grow on bushes.
No.
I don't even know at this point. Cherries, berries,
droops,
everything. Any more fruit enjoyers? Fruit and vegetables.
Any fruit enjoyers in chat? Well, J-Team are very close to closing this one out, I think. I think we established you're half glass empty kind of guy. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So I want to look towards the bright side. Ysera, in his matchup against Dawn, did decently, right? I mean, it is the Garen. It's an easier matchup, like you said. You know, the Garen generally gets to play safe. But he got to go for a more aggressive build. It's like 2-2-1 or something like that. Scoreline looks okay. So I think going into the next matches, Ysera will not be the worry. I think it's down to the bot side now, how Bruce and Bayer intend to get enabled.
Yeah, I think Bruce and Eason, you know, they definitely struggled in this game. You know, I think it was Bruce just playing a little bit too aggressive in this game, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board now. This is going to be pretty much J-Team just trying to close it out. They're going to try and head towards the Baron, but you can see at the moment that towards that Baron, you can see, look, again, the Death Brushes, they're all going towards them, and Pan's just looks to go in!
The Cherry Brush sliding away gives J-Team the first kill, taking down Eason. They very quickly move on to the second target. Cookie gets to escape with invisibility. Bayer with the exhaust will hold Cherry
Bruce
in place, but Dawn will not be stopped. Gets the chase after on the turret. Meanwhile, Bruce goes down now. The only 2 remaining members on this side of Flash Wolves in the side likes of J-Team. Baya the next to fall, and J-Team very dominantly take control of the game and are looking to close out game number 1 in their favor.
Yeah, they only lose 3 kills in the end. They only lost 1 tower, and that's it. That's the prime game in Ace, and J-Team take a dominant game 1 against Flash Wolves.
Exactly the start you want to see from J-Team. Flash Wolves need to do a lot more to pull back confidence for games 2, 3, maybe 4 in a reverse sweep.
Oh, maybe. I feel the WCS copium right now coming out from you. I feel it.
So
but
this is what it's like.
Oh, no, don't bring this up. No. We won't mention about me in Europe and everything, you know. But J-Team, I really, really dominant. You know, you can see that, as I was mentioning, you know, when J-Team get ahead, they're so good at controlling the map. They're so good at getting deep vision. They're so good at setting up them death brushes, you know, with their team comp as well, with the Wukong, with DY back on that Galio as well, showing why they are, even though they are technically the 5th seed coming out of China, showing how their dominance as well.
Oh, absolutely, right? Being able to have that knowledge and information to be able to set up for an early lead. And this was despite some good attempts from Flash Wolves early on. You saw what Cookie was trying to get done, stealing away the Scuttle Crab. They traded there. Flash Wolves, despite all the efforts they placed in J-Team very quickly, were able to shut that down and come in with a game plan to take down Flash Wolves. Well, a lot has been said in this game, and hopefully we've imparted some knowledge over to our analyst desk on the state of fruits, droops, cherries, berries, and the like. We'll have D-God, Omo, and Riku break down the rest of the food pyramid.
Thank you very much. Grandin, I didn't know you were such a fruit droop connoisseur there for us. Cherry, berry connoisseur here. Reason why we're starting there is because that was rough. That was a very, very rough game to watch for Flash Wolves. And, you know, I think I'm going to go a little hard here. That is one of the worst Vayne performances I've ever seen. And I'm saying that because this team is built around Bruce. This draft was built around Bruce, and he was tumbling forward into the opposing team and trying to get out. He never used Flash in a team fight because he used it randomly walking into waves, and the focal point on the bottom side of the map for Flash was completely negated by one major point here, Riku.
Exactly, right? It is DY basically making the lane so hard for Bruce's transition to mid to late game. They basically made it very, very hard in the bottom side. And if the Vayne doesn't transition well, then that means you cannot contribute any damage whatsoever if J-Team forces the issue.
Very, very hard.
It's very, very hard, right?
It truly is, and I honestly think that the Vayne pick here was kind of forced as well. It was a little bit greedy from Bruce and the rest of Flash Wolves. If you look at the draft coming in from J-Team, you might say, sure, it's great against Singed, it's great against Darius, but this is a point you raised as well, D-Gon. Vayne into Senegalio, it's not the best lane. Sure, you might have the karma to try to negate some of the bullying going on there, but still, it's a rough lane. Then you got Wukong diving onto you, and if you don't manage to get to the mid to late game, well, we just saw what would happen.
Yeah, it feels like a draft where you're like, you look at the individual picks, you're like, wow, power picks. Karma, always banned away. Kha'Zix, Prio, Jungler,
Corki, Garen.
Yeah. Garen, and then Vayne, you're like, kind of like put it in, but then where's the CC? How do you set up? How do you protect? How do you protect the Vayne?
Nothing. You're basically relying heavily on your mobility, mechanics, to be able to dodge a lot of things. But take note, Vayne is very short range. You're going to be in range of the Justice Punch. You're going to be in range of the Cyclone. You're going to be in range of the Apprehend, most especially. So at this point, you can't really do a lot of kiting, a lot of mechanics going on if you're going to be... A lot of people are going to target you.
Yeah, that was the only team fight where we got to see Bruce pop ult and get like more than 3 auto attacks off.
Yeah.
Proc Silver Bolt's like once.
Yeah.
It was a very, very tough game, I think, for the Vayne, but also the composition not great, but that was Bruce piloting it, and Flash Wolves will not get close if Bruce plays like this. It is just pretty clear and straightforward. This was a case of Vayne spotting here in Wild Red.
It truly was, and honestly, though, props to J-Team because I feel like they kind of forced Flash Wolves into the situations as well. You call back to what J-Team banned away in the second phase of the draft. You look at Barry's damage as well, fantastic performance from him. J-Team banned away Xayah and Lucian, 2 of Bruce's best picks to really have a good laning phase on, and that really just leaves the only marksman options for him in the Dragon lane down to Corki and the Vayne. They put the Corki in mid lane, maybe they should have considered putting that in the hands of Bruce, and he gets forced onto the Vayne. One thing leads to another, and this game plays out.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many others that we've seen be played before. The Varus comes to mind here.
Not a Bruce champion.
Yeah,
Not a Bruce champion.
not a carry flashy champion.
You can dish out a lot of damage, and then
That's
you're putting
true.
faith into Ysera on the top side of the map or Cookie to scale. But it just felt like that draft was, all right, we've got a lot of power picks that come online late, but no bridge to get there. Even early on when Cookie kind of alpha chatted the Scuttlecrab away, right? The bot lane kind of rotated up, and he's like, all right, cool, you guys are going to tickle me. I'm going to take this Scuttlecrab and walk away.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's like, okay, Cookie's doing his job, but he can't be the facilitator early on. Who's going to be? There really wasn't an answer, and the team fell apart and fell behind so early.
Yeah, this is the composition that Flash Wolves drafted is a very classic Flash Wolves where we're going to take this to 20 minutes and make sure that we scale and fight you later with a lot of scaling champions like Kha'Zix, Corki, especially the Vayne. But unfortunately, if you can't get there, and that's exactly what J-Team did, shut down everyone during the laning phase, and after it all broke out, it's already a done deal.
Sure, and the reason why I'm being so hard on Flash Wolves here, rather than building up J-Team, is because it felt like this draft was not set up.
It's hard
for
to
success
execute,
unless he's going to execute well, and it wasn't even close to that. It was very tough. So J-Team, again, like we set up in the pregame, this was going to be a game where J-Team are the favorite. They're going to force Flash Wolves to come into them and play something different, and it very much backfired as game number 1.
Yeah, the draft was great coming in from J-Team. They had a very comprehensive draft, but on the side of Flash Wolves as well, you said execution from Bruce, but that's not just it. It's execution from the whole team. Your comp has no crowd control, like you guys put it. You have one solo tank in the form of Garen who just stands there and does nothing.
Yeah.
So the only way you can team fight is to play a very clean, very methodical front to back, playing around your Karma shields and speed boost. It's so hard to execute on. And you play that against a WRL team playing a draft that has multiple forms of crowd control and engage.
Yeah.
It's just so difficult. Why put yourself in that spot?
Exactly. The fact that they have Galio and Wukong in the same team is just ease and Singed too. Ease of execution, a lot of stun locks, layering of CC. It's just so hard to break free. And again, I want to put on a very small point. Cherry is so scary in the Wukong. I feel like they need to ban that. He keeps using the Wukong and they keep winning.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. Let's try to now, that's my fault. I was leading the way here with a very strong, focusing on the bad here for Flash Wolves kind of desk. But if you do look at something good, one thing that I do want to take away from this draft is the fact that they were willing to put Ysera on to Garen.
Yes.
And so be like, okay, handshake that top lane. Garen, Darius. Seen a lot of that top lane in North America. It's a very fun top lane to watch. A bunch of tanky boys hitting each other. And that kind of at least slows down one of these solo lanes that J-Team likes to play. Eventually, though, Darius got rolling and got the resets. But for the longest time there, it was holding steady. The gold lead was actually fluctuating more down on the bottom side of the map. So at least there's a game plan to neutralize Dawn for a little bit.
Yeah, neutralizing Dawn is a good start here, but if you look at J-Team, this is exactly what we talked about in pre-show as well. You have to keep in mind the way they want to draft, the way they want to play is around their laners. Even though you had Pan playing Cinch this game, he was still very impactful on the map. And like we keep saying, it was Barry, it was DY. How are you going to try to shut these guys down as well? Your solo lanes are the focus here.
I don't know if we get a vote, but remember we showed the MVPs earlier in the day of J-Team.
I think that's Barry.
You think it's Barry?
You guys think it's DY? I
I think it's Barry.
Barry spaced it so well.
Okay, if like on paper.
DY never gets any love. I tried.
Okay.
I tried.
Wait. Numbers-wise, it's definitely Barry doing a lot of these routes. But laning phase early, it's definitely DY pulling a lot of these triggers and shutting down the lane early for Bruce.
All right.
Yeah.
I think when you're drafting as Flash Wolves, then you have to be aware at any point they're comfortable shifting who the priority is going to be on. So Flash Wolves felt like, hey, this is what we're drafting. We're drafting this. Okay, power picks, cool. That's our game plan. But J-Team feels like they can adjust and shift in the draft at any point. So hopefully maybe something a little better here from the WCS squad. And where do we go for answers?
Yeah, I think that's the difference between the two teams, right? J-Team, obviously you get to see Pan sometimes on the Lucian, sometimes on Dawn. So their draft is a little bit unpredictable because you don't know who's going to be the carry. And in the meantime, though, for Flash Wolves, it's very straightforward. You know Bruce needs to step up on these carry champions.
All right, the lights are up, the waves are in, game 2 underway. We'll see if Flash Wolves can change their fortunes. And it all starts here with the draft. Where will the focus go, and what bot laner is Bruce gonna play? Because that Vayne wasn't it with the way that comp worked. I'm down to see Vayne again, but just not like that.
I think a couple things you got to keep in mind here. Knowing that Bruce is unlikely to play a champion like Varus, unlikely to play a champion like these Ziggs, you might want to just either ban or snatch away the Senna. Bruce has played Senna, and he looked good on it. I think that's a pick which you can set up Eason for success on as well. Gragas is one of his best champions. I feel like if you want to play a marksman, snatch away the Senna. Don't give it over to a WRL team. That is their specialty.
Okay, well, first pick here for Flash Wolves.
Please be
Karma's
Senna.
the last
Yeah.
fan here for Flash Wolves. Let's see what J-Team goes with here.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they prioritize the Corki again. Just because they can put it on
Yeah.
Baya, just because they need wave clear. Because if Bruce is going for Lucians at the bot lane, for Kaisas, they need something that has big range, has big wave clear.
Yeah, speaking of Baya, you go back to the couple of Rift Heralds that happened in
Oh,
Baya.
yeah,
Both times, one auto attack away from stopping the Rift Herald from getting 2 charges off. Both times happening. Jack's getting banned away, which is one of Cookie's best champs. And there it is. Coach Omo coming in.
You have to. You have to take that pick. It gives J-Team too much flexibility, and if you don't snatch it here, Bruce's champion pool is going to get choked out very heavily. But this just means that J-Team trades a Corki, so it's not really a loss for them either.
Now, the biggest question is, will we see the typical Senna Nasus infinite scaling at the bot lane, or do they go for more the aggressive route?
Yeah.
Like what they did with DY with the Galio, and, you know, the more aggressive approach, which is the Set or the Gragas, just as you mentioned, Omo.
Yeah,
I feel like that fits Eason so well.
Yeah, exactly. Eason is great on the Gragas as well. That's something he played all of WCS. But Flash Wolves did look good with the Senna Nasus combo. So it's a very real possibility we see it again. I think Widow is something we would like to have against the Singe as well. So let's see what they opt to go for. I would be curious to see if J-Team want to show a Corki here. There we go. That makes sense. So that means Corki Senna going on the side of Flash Wolves.
There you go. This is the champ that you were prioritizing earlier for Cherry, and they go right back to it with the second pick, and a couple things open.
And they're not even changing anything. J-Team said we won with that draft, no sweat, no problem, calculated. Again, so that means they really don't have to show anything. They don't have to change anything, which is very understandable.
All right, so Senna up. We've got Corki still open. We've seen Senna Nasus be played a lot here at the tournament. If that combo is open,
there you go.
They're going to go with Gragas. And Gragas can be played in a couple of lanes, but generally played here at the support role.
One teeny tiny fun fact though, when we look at Bias performance with one team back then, is the double 80 carry configuration. Omo is sighing.
This is heartburn, Omo.
I was just going to say, I think they're going to go for the Kha'Zix again, but I don't like the Kha'Zix here. Because you look at the champions that you have to play into. Stanky Boys, it's Singe, it's Wukong, they're running around, spitting out poison at you. You might just want to go for something tanky that can run through the front lines here. I was thinking something like Olaf would be great, but instead they just double down on the Kha'Zix. I'm not fond of that one.
And they're double downing on the scaling again, so it feels like Flash Wolves has to slow this down till 15 minutes until they are ready to fight.
But I do like, even in just one champion change here with the Gragas, because Gragas is very good at buying time. You got the barrels, you got the explosive cask to be an engage or a disengage tool. Plus, you're already banking that you're going to get a tanky boy on the top side of the map for Ysera anyway. So it feels like this comp's already kind of played out. Darius getting banned away by J-Team. Let's see if they go with Garen or they continue to chunk down this pool on the top side of the map.
I think that's a very good point. I think J-Team should also opt into the Garen ban. But what's cool about J-Team's draft right now is Wukong Riven. You have the flexibility to flex one jungle, flex one Baron lane. So if they opt into Garen on the side of Flash Wolves, you can take Wukong top. But they're just going to ban it away. That makes sense too.
Yeah, I really like this adaptation, right? That's the problem when you always go up against J-Team. You don't know which champions are going to go, because Pan, Cherry, and Dawn, they flex out a lot of these champions. It's interesting to me that Flash Wolves banned out Rakan. DY Set is still going to be available, and that's one of his best picks in a 2v2 lane.
Can I just say, I think Ysera only has one champion left that he can play. Jace is banned, Darius is banned, Garen is banned, Camille's banned. I think the only champion he has played before is Shen.
He
That's
played
the only
Gragas
champion
too.
left. Yeah, but I don't like Gragas top, though. Gragas top is kind of weak.
Never know. You never know. Oh, this opens up Varus, though, for the bottom side of J-Team.
Oh, yeah, that would be
It's super scary, right? It is the most oppressive lane. They're going to chunk you down. A little bit of goodness for Flash Wolves, though.
Whoa, okay, what's going on here?
Okay, this still could be a Baya, or Bruce can go mid lane, carry that Lucian.
Going bot lane.
It could be Baya going bot lane. I mean, it makes sense because we talked about one team from year 0. They've drafted double 80 composition, so it's not going to be an issue if they do swap lanes.
Okay, so it'll be a Renekton. So the gauntlet has been thrown. Ysera needs to win early.
You think they play Draven Trash here? Or just Varus Trash?
They can, or they can poke out. They can use Varus, poke out Bruce from far away, and then that's it, basically.
Oh boy, I feel like yet again, J teams have all the tools they want to win this game here.
So we'll see what this last one is. Coach Omo, he's
Coach
just like
Omo.
3 for 3.
I mean, if you're picking Varus, you wouldn't drop it to 5.
That's
It has
true.
to be a Draven angle, I think. Yeah.
Oh, what a big surprise. Again, it is the 2v2. It's basically DY Barry saying, we're going to win, we're going to take you on, fight fire with Bruce and Eason. I love this so much.
And this is what you said, right? 2v2, Barry DY. They're doubling down on it. Draven Trash is as good as it gets.
That's absolutely scary.
What I love about this for J Team is that their game plan hasn't changed, but their game plan was we're attacking the strength of, your, of your team. And it's to shut down Bruce. Now, Bruce shut down himself in that first game. But here on Lucian, they're giving him one of his best champions and saying, come at us, and we'll double down on the aggression with the Draven. All right, fist bumps are in. Draft is finished. Game 2 about to start. Let's send it back on over to the Boy Scout duo of Stuart and Grandin.
Hey, you want some Boy Scout cookies, Stuart?
Can I have some Boy Scout lessons?
Got some Boy Scout lessons.
We go camping.
In the Death Rush? Game number 2.
Pick up some berries and cherries.
Oh, God. Game number 2 between Flash Nose and JT very quickly going to go underway as we go into the Rift. A lot needs to be said here to be set up for both sides because Flash was doubling down on that late game scaling combo, whereas J-Team says, come at me, bro. I've got the Draven, I've got the Thresh, we are going to win and dominate lane.
And this is an interesting pick for Barry because Barry is known for playing, the Senna, the Orianna, and also a Corki as well. But now he's just like, I think they just proved in the first game how dominant they were. Barry and DY were so strong and they performed so well that they're just like, okay, we're going to win the lane anyway. We're confident enough that we're going to win the lane. So let's pick a champion that can dominate the lane. Let's pick a champion that can snowball really well. And interesting enough, it's actually Bruce, the one on the Senna, which he has played Senna a few times. And it's actually Bayer on the Lucian.
And as we take a look at the start here, a trade coming through from J-Team towards the bottom side. I feel like this is a big reason why they decided to have Bruce play the bot side still, right? They possibly could have looked at a flex between Baya and Bruce and said, in a matchup with Barry on the Draven, I think we must have Bruce in the bot side, lest we lose it straight up. There we go.
Yeah, I think we have to see if Bruce plays a little bit more passive, because you are playing a Senna into a Draven. If you overstep once, if you tumble forward, which Senna can't do, but if you walk forward like you did last game, Bruce, then you can have a Thresh and a Draven right on top of you, which a Draven does a lot of damage. And saying that, Barry's taken a lot of damage himself as well. But yeah, this lane is just all going to be about aggression. It's all going to be about DY and Barry getting the push in, getting the priority as well, which will allow Cherry to roam around the map and allow Cherry to take that advantage.
Oh, absolutely. And being able to quickly scale up gives them this opportunity to start moving the game faster in the way that they want things to, right? J-Team looking to try and contest the Skull Crab with the top side. It's Flash Wolves that rotate over. Cherry misses the chance for the smite, and so it goes over to the side of Flash Wolves.
Yeah, and Ysera winning out in the top lane battle as well. So Flash Wolves getting the mid lane priority with Lucian in the mid lane, which is expected. Getting the top lane priority as well, which means Cookie takes that Scuttle Crab, and it means Cherry has to move down to the bot side now. But this is what I kind of expected. I thought Cherry was going to be going down towards the bot side anyway because of, the way that you have the pushing lane of Draven and Thresh down in the bot side, but instead trying to contest that top Scuttle. In the end, it is Cookie that wins out in the end, but I don't think it means too much. I think that Cherry will be able to
Is it too late for me to start by saying it's a good start for Flash Wolves? Is that too early?
You don't want to go for an Omo thing. No. You don't want to go for a caster curse like Omo.
Stuart looking out for me, making sure that I don't do an Omo thing. You're absolutely right. Thank you very much, Stuart.
You don't want to get any flame as well.
Oh, no, that's absolutely not. That's reserved exclusively for him and his masters.
Oh, Bayer!
very close to something there.
Yeah, Bayer trying to get the culling, and again, more aggression in his bot side.
There's a flash death sentence. They get to go into the bot side again. Body slam blocked the interceptor. The exhaust landing there on the Eason.
He
One more
gets the
flash
kill.
from the auto tag. Barry picks up the kill. A trade back is a 1-for-1 in the bottom side, but J-Team with first blood on the Draven.
And look at that gold lead as well, 3,000 gold now on that Draven. He flashed forward because he knew that he had the lantern there from DY to get back to safety. It was so well played by J-Team. They do trade 1-for-1 in the end, but they got a kill onto Berry, which means that he gets the gold, he gets the stacks from his passive, and it means he's going to get a huge advantage in this lane.
And we start to see across the map as well, more of J-Team starting to get some control here towards the top side. Dawn looking better. Cherry, of course, making moves around the map as well. And so we look towards this bot side now. I'm sure Barry very happy here, stacking up double BF swords. Just plenty of damage in the matchup against Bruce and Eason.
Just pure AD for Berry in the end. Just wants as much AD as possible. This will probably go into like Infinity Edge. Maybe. I'm trying to think what the other BF sword would be, to be honest. Normally you see, or maybe Storm Razor as well. Storm Razor could be the other item.
Storm Razor, yeah.
You normally like to see a little bit of physical vamp on the side of Draven, because with Draven, when you're picking up the axes, sometimes axes can go a little bit too far forward, and sometimes you can be a little bit out of position, but he feels confident. He just goes double BS sword. He's like, okay, I just want as much damage as possible. I want to carry on snowballing this lane. And then when you see DY's flash come back up, you're going to see again, they're going to play aggressive. They're going to try and get kills, because they know the later this game goes, the harder it gets, because Bruce will be able to outscale Berry.
Especially when we have first objective spawn coming up very soon. You want to have that big power spike, right? You could go for something that scales you a little bit better, but against a scaling team, might as well take the power spike and do what does you best.
Again, they're going to get the bot lane priority as well. They're going to move up towards the objectives. They're not going to get the first tower this time like they did in the previous game, which means that they're not going to get the huge advantage that they got in the team-wide goal they got from the first tower of the game, but they still have priority in this bot side. And you can see Cherry again is prioritizing down towards his bot lane, trying to shut down Bruce. Now, Bruce is not on a hyper carry that we're used to seeing him on. He is on the center now, but he has played a few games of Senna. He has played Senna, I believe, twice at Icons. So he is a comfortable champion for him, is something that he has played before. And it is a champion that can carry as well. You can do a lot of damage, you can definitely outplay with Senna.
And I feel like the biggest part as well is denying that from J-Team, right? Who have just been looking so comfortable. Of course, one of the big reasons why Flash Wolves went for the blue side in the first place. I think the analyst desk kind of addressed that as well. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, Barry's played Senna 6 times, and the analyst desk rightly pointed out that the Senna first pick as well, and trying to catch out Ysera, but really good flash away, and Flash Wolves are just going to be able to take the Dragon. It's just a trading objectives, but to be honest, J-Team is a team that loves to take Rift Herald, because they love to just try and get their lead and excel their lead as quick as possible. You can see, as soon as Cherry takes that Rift Herald, he goes straight up into Baron lane. He might not even need to drop this Rift Herald. They might just get first tower of the game without even Rift Herald. That's crazy.
Very easily. I would say, yeah, looks like a lot of the Draven damage coming into effect.
And normally what happens as well is that you normally see when a team takes a Rift Herald, in this instance J-Team, they normally go up towards the Baron side of the map, and normally you see the other team go towards the bot side of the map and try and trade in towers. Right. But in this instance, Cookie just went back to farming, Bayer just went back to farming as well, and instead J-Team just get a free tower, which it doesn't mean too much in terms of gold lead, but that's more money for Draven. And that means that Draven now has 5,500 gold, I think 1,000 more than anyone else in the entire game right now. And if this Draven could get more and more stacks, and if the Draven could get another kill as well to get the passive online, to get that money as well, to get as much gold as possible, then this Draven's going to be a very scary champion to deal with on the side of Flash Wolves.
It's been a hot minute since Barry got another kill, so the second he does, I can imagine, picking up the stacks again, cashing them in, and well, we can kind of expect what happens there. Reptile using the mid lane, J-Team looking to get some pressure down. Maybe try and force away Bayer, Ysera, maybe go for a dive.
And look at this, J-Team, they're playing the map so well, and even though
Ysera, I don't think he can stand there. No, definitely cannot stand there. The first kill going over, Pan quickly chasing for a second kill onto Eason, gets the flash away. Pan also hunting for a kill, but Eason flashes out, and Flash will lose one in the mid lane.
Do you know what the crazy thing is about J-Team as well, is that even though they don't have any vision on the bot side of the map, they still walk through the enemy jungle. They still feel confident enough. It's just like, okay, we don't care if you're sitting in the brush. We don't care if you're, going to be trying to play defensive and try and pick us off. We're just going to walk through your jungle. We're just going to take every advantage that they can.
Catch on the Eason very quickly. The death sentence interrupts
Draven
the body
kill,
slam,
there it is.
A kill coming through for Barry. towards the bottom side. Flashers responding with 3 members will stop JT from picking up the turret, but you can start to see what happens here as JT pick up a lead.
The damage has been dealt already, I feel like, Grandin. You know, Draven, another kill over to him, more gold over to him, 7,500 gold now. He has 2 items already.
You asked what the 2 BM was built into.
Yep, there we go, there it is. Storm Razor Infinity Edge. He doesn't need any physical vamp at all. He feels confident enough that he doesn't need any physical vamp to keep himself alive. He just play aggressive. He has the Thresh by his side as well. He has a very tanky front line as well. He has Cherry, he has Pan, he also has Dawn as well that can help protect him, which means that Berry can just keep auto-attacking and auto-attacking. And it's such a strong position for J-Team to be in. And again, they're doing the same thing as what I mentioned as well. They're rotating around as a team. They're making sure that, you know, they use the Rift Herald mid lane, they get the mid lane tower. Then they rotate down to the bot side. They pick off Eason on the Gragas. They get a kill onto Draven. This is what I love about J-Team. They move around as a team, and they're just able to get every single little advantage that they can.
And you know, one of the big things looking towards J-Team were, compared to the other teams, J-Team likes to move together around more, right? They're more of a 5-man unit, whereas you have oftentimes star players coming through. You take a look at teams with guys like Long, you know, you take a look at guys with like 0711, Fato, everyone coming on board. And you have those star players. J-Team, not quite the same. They want to play as that 5-man unit, and they want to rotate around. As you saw on your screens right there, there was an attempt towards the bottom side. Flash holes will stop J-Team from getting across.
And J-Team was a team as well, you know, in the WRL. You know, at the start of the WRL season, they actually finished off first in Stage 1 in WRL. They were considered one of, if not the best team in China at the start of the year. But as the year went on, as it went into knockouts as well, if you felt like that teams just kind of realized how J-Team played, and they just were able to kind of pinpoint the little things about J-Team and little weaknesses,
right,
and then take advantage of that. And then this J-Team now, you know, again, performing really well in group stage, performing really well, and now in knockouts, again, they're showing that maybe this time it's something a little bit different. Maybe they're not going to choke in the knockout stage.
Let's hope that's not the case, but I feel like that's a death flag there, Stuart, as a death flag arises here for Eason. He steps forward into J-Team while trying to check out for the Rift Herald. As a result, they start to have to back away. J-Team very quickly respond here by sending Flash Rolls back. The Rift Herald resets, moves its way back in the pit. Flash Rolls go into the mid lane instead.
There were so many skill shots there that were so close from hitting. You know, Dawn flashed over the wall. DY was trying to land a hook as well. If any one of them landed on the side of Flash Wolves, I feel like one of them were dead. But now it's Flash Wolves. They're grouping together, but that's a low Bruce right in the middle there, but they're trying to catch out Dawn.
Dawn hits the hourglass. They managed to find the first isolated target, trying to take it down.
Kill for
Eason to get it done. Dawn's still alive at this point. He's dancing around the backline. Pan flashes away. Berry fully online, but gets hit by the exhaust and now will not be able to output damage. The exhaust times out. Cookie flashes in, gets the Vorpal spikes down, but J-Team quickly running away together. A 4-man unit gets away from Flash Wolves.
You know what I love as well is that somehow J-Team, you know,
Rift Herald?
J-Team still got Rift Herald from that whole situation. Exactly. I mean, I think it might have accidentally been used there. I don't think they actually wanted to use the Rift Herald there. I think it was a little bit of a misclick or something, but same time, and Cookie, actually Cherry, is he going to get Smite still?
Running into the Dragon Pit, looking for the Smite. It still goes over to Cookie, and Cookie gets to leap out of the pit and get away.
Okay, so 2 Dragons over the side of Flash Wolves. J-Team got 2 Rift Heralds. The first Rift Herald was used to break down the mid lane. This Rift Herald, not as useful. Just going to die in mid lane, unfortunately.
If you love it, set it free. F in chat.
F's in chat for Herald. F's in chat for Shelly. Unfortunate. But yeah, not going to be able to get any charges, not going to be able to get any advantages. But again, on the side of J-Team, you know, again, it's another one of them situations where, you know, they're going to look to try and move around the map. They're trying again the same thing, you know, move around as a unit, try and catch up members of Flash Wolves. And Berry, you know, he's doing a lot of damage. He did get exhausted though. Exhaust is so broken, right? Why exhausted?
Oh, absolutely. That's why you run 2 exhausts.
It's like Bruce used exhaust, and I think Bayer just used exhaust straight afterwards as well. It was just exhaust on top of exhaust, and then Berry just can't play the game.
Fair enough.
He just can't play the game.
I think that's the point, actually.
Or just pick exhaust. There you go. If you want to know, back at home, if you're playing solo queue and if you don't want the enemy team to play the game, just pick exhaust.
I have a suspicion here, Stuart, right? That Flash Rolls pick exhaust so they could win the game. I know it sounds crazy.
I didn't know that's what you had to do. I didn't know that's what you had to do.
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy here, but I feel like they picked exhaust to win the game. Well, Another big thing about winning the game here is actually winning team fights. And it looks like J-Team will be able to win it as they go in and dive under turret, taking down Baya. Flash Rolls play under the turret, but have no success there.
Again, the pick potential, DY with the hook, Pun with the Protobolt forward into the flip as well. And again, J-Team, oh, so close. The flash hook nearly lands from DY. But again, J-Team grouping up as 5, trying to get this lost outer tower.
Okay, Mano Frieze, I see you. It was close there. It was definitely close. DY was trying to go for something. If Cookie had walked down, you know, he was trying to. It was a prediction, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think he tried to predict the movement of Cookie. Maybe thought that he would move backwards instead of running away.
I see you, Mano Frieze. All right, good job, DY. Well, we'll get him next time. We'll get him next time, Chief.
Close but no cigar.
Let's start talking about the objective that is on the map now, the Baron Nashor. Last game we saw J-Team with amazing vision control. Flash Rolls had none. They did not have any insight on the map. This time around, a little bit closer. They get to have more vision towards the top side of the map.
Again, I mean, JT didn't even need Baron in that previous game. That was a crazy thing as well, I feel like. You know, JT, they didn't need Baron at all, but they just played around the vision, like you said, so well. They're able to get picks. And again, you know, Cherry and DY holding hands together, roaming through. And they're going to look to try and get another pick here. But look, again, Cookie's all by himself. And DY, look, oh, missed the hook again. Maybe it's not Mano Frieze.
He didn't want it. They wanted the turret. If he hit that, then his team would have wanted to fight. It's a zoning hook. If he hits that, his team would have wanted to fight. And so he was like, I don't want to fight this, actually. How do I make it look like I'm actually...
The mind games, Brandon, the mind games.
No, J-Team is a team which has a lot of secrets that we have yet to unravel. I'm just saying, you know, do we know for a fact that is this true?
I thought about that one.
Still starting to understand why all my co-casters just want to talk over me.
That's okay, Brandon. We all love you. It's fine.
Thank you.
There's no hard feelings. Maybe Omo might talk over you, but I won't. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you, Stuart. J-Team have full control on the Baron now. We're 14.5 minutes into game, and it's still looking to be a very J-Team dominated game. Flash Rolls have had some good moments, especially in these fights. But every single one of them seems to go J-Team's way in the end.
They're going again.
Fight starts out. Pan gets the first pickup, and they take down Bruce. The scaling option for the team now taken away. Dawn starts to join in on the fight. Looks for Ethan. Looks for Cookie.
Beautiful
in the back line. Beautiful knock-up onto Bruce. It's a second kill going over to Barry. Now the death sentence lands. A triple coming across. 4 kills going the way of J-Team, running down Flash Rolls 15 minutes into the game, and onto the mid lane they go.
And it's too hard for Flash Rolls to get onto Barry. Barry got that early game advantage, and honestly, they might look to try and just end the game right now.
10 seconds onto Bruce. They have the fortification on the Nexus, but very quickly you see the power that they have, taking down the neutral objective, not the neutral objective, but the turret, the Nexus rather, and moving on to it. J-Team will get themselves a game number 2 in very strong fashion.
Again, a very dominating performance by J-Team, and this time it's not the center in the bot side, it's the Draven. It's the early aggression with the Draven. I think Draven in the end had like a 3,000 goal lead over anyone else on the entire map, and that's a great thing about Draven. They realized the kind of, I would say at the moment, the weakness really of Flash Rolls, which is actually Bruce down in the bot side. They realize that weakness, and they're like, okay, Barry, you play a aggressive, you know, early game champion. You play that Draven, and you dominate that bot lane. You get that early game advantage, and with Draven, if you do get that early game advantage, you can steamroll the game, and that's exactly what they did.
Very quickly identifying Bruce going from the main focus, the priority from the team, and it feels like this over need to have Bruce be that hyper carry, you know, to get him scaling up and get him doing stuff. That's kind of put Flash Rolls in a top position, because now all JT need to do is say, we just need to target the bot side. You know, we win lane in the bot side, and suddenly things are looking very good for us. Of course, a lot of this is down to the power of Cherry and of Barry and DY in the bot side. They're doing an amazing job. They're shutting down the Bruce and Eason combo. So we need to see if Flash Rolls are able to recover, or if J-Team are going to run away with the series very quickly with 3-0 through it.
Yeah, it's going to be very scary. I mean, one more game for J-Team, and that's it. They're into the semi-finals. And I don't think it's not just Barry and DY in the bot side. It's also Cherry helping them out as well. It's also Pan roaming down. It's also even Dawn roaming down as well. There was a point during that game where all 5 members of J-Team were able to go all the way down into the bot side and just get that Draven ahead. And as soon as the Draven gets kills, as soon as it gets gold, J-Team just have a team comp that can protect that Draven so well, and you saw in the end the triple kill, able to end the game.
Well, Omo had a good prediction rate to determine what J-Team were looking to play in game number 2. We'll have to see if he can get that get it as right for game number 3 or what's going to happen. We're going to toss it over back to the AD again to break down game number 2. And what to expect for a maybe short series? What's happening, guys? What's happening? Short series? Long series? Reverse sweep, right?
Speaking of predictions here, Stuart, I got to give credit to Stuart. He called it out. He thought it was going to be a bunch of 3-0s in this quarterfinals, and this one is looking very much like it.
I got one wrong yesterday, but I'm doing pretty well so far.
All right, there it is. Reverse curse, everyone. Hey, if anyone gets upset, send it to Stuart. At It's Stuart.
Yes, hype train now.
All right, well, there you have it. Another clinical, clean game here by J-Team, who clearly laid out their game plan and executed it to perfection. The bot side of the map, again, the focus for them, and it's really just taking the heart out of this Flash Wolves squad right now.
You can tell that J-Team has been focusing a lot on DY and Barry because they were the last 2 picks in the draft.
Yeah.
Imagine the fact that they saved up the Draven, they saved up this Thresh, and at the same time, Flash Wolves, they didn't know what to pick. What did they do? Did they pick something more defensive for Bruce or something else? And that's the risk that they had to take by picking up 2 AD carries early on into the draft. So I like this approach coming from J-Team. The fact that DY does not disappoint every single time he pulls the trigger on champions like Thresh, Set, Gragas. He never disappoints. He always does something, and Flash Wolves does not see it coming.
Short highlights here is this one was a quick early fight. See if Draven got stacks. Draven got stacks, and then the scaling was just really difficult for Flash Wolves to find any fights here, Elmo.
Yeah, Draven got stacks even in a 2v3 fight. Yet again, Barry just topping the charts by quite a wide margin at that. And I feel like J-Team, like you said, clinically dismantling Flash Wolves. I feel like this comes back down to the roster. This comes back down to the draft as well. And this is why I don't really like this iteration of Flash Wolves with Baya in the mid lane and Bruce in the Dragon lane. It makes them very predictable. And you see J-Team just solve them, crack them like a code very well. You want to play around your Dragon lane entirely? Then we will just counterpick your Dragon lane. Barry and DY are such good players. They can dismantle you down there.
You know, I didn't think it was going to be that bad even after the first couple of kills here because you do have the Kazakhs, right? Cookie was about a 1,000 gold ahead of his counterpart there in Cherry, and we're like, okay, cool. You know, Cookie can be a secondary carry. Gosh, lots of Aries. But he was ahead on the Kazakhs. It's like, okay, cool. Yes, it is a fed Draven, but you can find some assassination power. But Thresh makes it very difficult to get onto the backside. And DY has been playing very, very well.
I think that's the problem, right? Like, for example, if you leave a 2v2 lane untouched, if you don't shut down the Draven early, he's just going to get farm ongoing. If you don't do anything in the lane, he's going to do something in the mid game.
Yeah, again, just difficult to find answers right now for Flash Wolves, and it's looking like the most dominant quarterfinals that we've seen so far. I feel like it's going to take a big effort here by Flash Wolves to find an answer, because now they tried to be all in on Bruce. Then this one, it's like, okay, Bruce, we thought that maybe he would take the Lucian. Instead, he takes the Senna and doesn't find success there. So just a quick thought, Omo, what can Flash Wolves pull out?
I mean, I feel like, not to take anything away from J-Team, but I feel like they're also pretty happy they got this matchup, because when Flash Wolves want to cheese you, when Flash Wolves want to pull out a new trick from the bag, it's still predictable. It's like, okay, what hyper carry is Bruce going to play this time? You know what this team is going to do. And that's why I feel like stylistically, this is so difficult for Flash Wolves to come up with a new trick in.
All right, hey, so before we get back to the action, let's hear the final moment of J-Team's clinical Game 2 win in our HyperX call of the game.
Running down Flash Wolves, 15 minutes into the game, and onto the mid lane they go.
And it's too hard for Flash Wolves to get onto Barry. Barry got that early game advantage, and honestly, they might look to try and just end the game right now.
10 seconds onto Bruce. They have the fortification on the Nexus, but very quickly you see the power that they have, taking down the neutral objective, not the neutral objective, but the turret, the Nexus rather, and moving on to it. J-Team will get themselves a game number 2 in very strong fashion.
Again, a very, very dominating performance by J-Team, and this time it's not the center in the bot side, it's the Draven, it's the early aggression.
stacks in abundance. Cause I remember days in the bunk beds, back when I only dreamed of the hundreds. Then it was counting thousands on the mountains, look where we come from. That's why we sit round, have fun. So big man, sit down, have some. Oh yeah, you haven't lived life, don't worry about it. Oh yeah, open your eyes, I can tell you about it. Oh yeah, cause we got the strength, yeah, we haven't said, oh yeah. And we got the time we can spend, yeah. Celebrate, live up your life, yeah, live up your life, yeah, live up your life, yeah. Celebrate, live up your life, yeah, live up your life, yeah, live up your life, yeah. Aiming for the top, yeah, you gotta aim and take your shot, yeah. Celebrate and live up your life, yeah, live up your life, yeah, live up your life, yeah.
Welcome back here at Icons 2022 for everyone watching at home and everyone over at the fan zone. Let's say hi.
Hi.
Fan zone fans. Yeah. All right. So right now, 2-0, J-Team kind of taking care of business here, and we wanted to highlight some of the other performers here. We've talked about Barry, we've talked about DY, but who else caught your eye, Amo?
I mean, you gotta talk about Pan and Cherry. Mid-jungle synergy has been very on point for J-Team. They haven't done anything flashy, but that's because they haven't needed to. We talk about Pan being one of the star players on this team, but he's done a very good job performing his role alongside his jungler. And of course, Dawn, playing two different champions. Riven in Game 2, I think he did a fantastic mechanical job as well. Would love to see him play more of these carries.
Riku, I asked Omo this question before the break. What can Flash Wolves do?
I think put Bruce in mid lane, let him avoid the Barry and DY duo.
Yeah, we've seen Baya at the bot lane role. Maybe you can get some more playmaking potential out of Bruce in the mid lane if he doesn't get caught up there. All right, let's send it back on over to the casters for our potential series-ending Game 3, or maybe Flash Wolves battle back.
Well, will Bruce go to the mid lane, or will Baya stay there still, taking on his opponent there in Pan? And then, of course, you have Barry and DY waiting for the Bruce Eason matchup at the bottom side. We need to have those questions answered, as Flash Wolves will once again triple down on the blue side here, Stuart.
Yeah, again, they're going to go for the exact same thing as what they've done. Now they're going to switch up the bans. Are they going to switch up the
Are they going to switch up the bans?
Are they going to switch up
plan?
anything? Exactly. I mean, do they go in with the same game plan? Same bans, same picks? Do they do the exact same thing? It's difficult for Flash Wolves. I feel like for Flash Wolves at the moment, you have to come up with something. I say new. They're trying to come up with things new every single game, but at the moment, it just seems like Flash Wolves just running out of ideas just over and over again. You know, they tried Bruce in hyper carry, they tried Bruce in a center. Maybe like the analyst has said, maybe they just move Bruce into the mid lane. They just take him away from Barry and DY because they've been so dominant in that bot side.
I feel like Flash was here with that first pick. They don't want to go for the Karma, have to ban it out themselves, in fact. And so now it's kind of curious, right? Are they still going to go for the Kha'Zix? It seems like that doesn't seem to be the answer. You know, it feels like they need a little bit more activity early on, something that can help Bruce and Eason cover up in that bot side.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like Cookie hasn't looked as strong on this Kha'Zix as he has done with other champions. You know, he's tried to play champions like Jax and everything, but again, they go for the center first pick. This is the exact same as the previous game. Same bans, same first pick. Now, will J-Team go for the Singed and the Wukong? Will they do the exact same thing again? Honestly, if you're J-Team, just run it back again. Just do the exact same thing. There you go. Exact same thing. This is game 2.
Top-notch analysis, Stuart. That's a good call. Going back for the Singed and Wukong again. And we saw what happened here, right? With the Singed and Wukong, they had a lot of proactivity on the map. Han was able to get a bunch of pickoffs.
Yeah, for sure. They were able to roam around the map. They were able to set up that mid-jungle duo, as what they said on the analyst desk as well. And that's a great thing, you know, if they're able to roam around, if they're able to get the bot lane ahead, bury ahead, they were able to just get them little advantages.
And one of the big things about this, we have a competition with amazing mid-jungle duels. Cherry and Pan have been in the forefront of the discussion for one of the best mid-jungle duels.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. I feel like, you know, even though this team is there's a lot of carries, there's a lot of MVP performances from this whole team. I feel like, you know, Cherry and Pan has definitely been one of the best mid and jungle duos. Even though Barry has performed really well on the bot side as well. You know, as I mentioned before this game, highest average KDA in the entire tournament. But now, Cookie's going to switch things up. He's like, I'm done with the Kha'Zix. No Kha'Zix anymore. I'm going to go for Olaf. I'm going to run you down. And as you can see there on the AR, just slam you down with lightning.
Oh, absolutely. One of the best parts about having the Olaf is the fact you already have the center. right? You can get some additional value. You don't really need the Karma as much. Generally, you want some kind of a utility with the Olaf to make it a little easier. But with the Senna, you actually kind of get that and damage as well.
I think the great thing with Olaf as well is that J-Team are going for this pick comp, like we've been mentioning.
That's true.
A lot of crowd control, a lot of pick potential. But Olaf is a champion. He hits the Ragnarok, he hits the ultimate button, and he's immune to crowd control. He won't be able to get flipped, he won't be able to get knocked up by the Wukong or even the Riven at the same time. And honestly, this is really good adaptation. I really, really like this from Flash Wolves, going on a champion with a bit more scaling as well and a bit more carry potential in the hands of Cookie.
We say that, but it's been like one pick changed. And then one pick changed. So we still have to see how Flash Wolves close out their composition. They have 2 more picks to go for, and they need to decide what that's going to mean for the team. If they have something in store for us, now is the time to show it.
Yep.
Last game on the line here, up against J-Team. They do not win this, their competition run ends, and so need to see if they have anything still in store.
Most of these second bans are all the same as well. The same Darius ban as the second ban phase, the same Orion. They actually ban away the Thresh. I think DY had a really great performance. Lulu. Okay.
Kind of like that, you know, like taking away any possibility Flash Wolves might want to run that.
Yeah, the Lulu Olaf is a very, very classic combo that's been in Wild Rift for a very, very long time. You know, just buffing up the Olaf as much as possible, and especially with Yuumi out of the cards now, Karma out of the cards, and also Lulu now out of the cards. Honestly, a very, very smart takeaway for the side of J-Team. Now Flash Wolves are like, who else do you go? Maybe do you go for the Nami? Do you go for potentially the Janna? There's again the Lucian pick. We did say, or the Anistes did say, sorry, that they were thinking maybe, you know, could this be a Bruce mid lane Lucian? And they go for a Kali as well. Is this Ysera Kali?
I think
or maybe Ysera Lucian.
I think it might have to be. I think it's Ysera on the Akali. And he's played this before in the WCS finals. It's been a matchup he's gone up against the likes of Team Flash, for example.
And Barry's just like, you know what? You played Vayne. You didn't have the best performance. I'm going to show you how to play Vayne. I'm going to show you how to play the Vayne Lulu bot lane as well. But, I mean, we saw the opposite side of this matchup. We saw how much Bruce struggled against Senna as a Vayne.
I don't know, Stuart.
Is this going to be the other way around?
This is kind of, you know, if J-Team win this matchup, I don't know how to feel about this. If J-Team, Barry and DY win the matchup against Bruce and Easton, I don't know how Bruce and Easton are going to take that. You know, we lost that matchup. Now they're winning this matchup. My goodness.
They could win both sides in the matchup. That's the crazy thing about it.
What a dominant display from J-Team, willing to take a previous matchup in the enemy team's favor now against the opponents in Game 3.
Yeah, they're taking a losing matchup. They're just like, okay, we'll take the losing matchup. We know that we're not going to be able to win the bot side, but we'll just win the scaling game. We'll win the scaling game, we'll rotate around. But the thing about J-Team, what we mentioned before in this series, is that Cherry and Pan have been around the bot lane so much in this series.
Right.
And I feel like they're going to do the exact same thing again, because if they leave Vayne on the island, if they leave Barry by themselves, that means that potentially Cookie will be able to roam down to the bot side this time. And I feel like Cookie's a player that we need to see change. We need to see a more priority towards his bot side, because that's where I feel like the advantage of J-Team and also the weakness of Flash Wolves have been. And okay, it's Bruce on the center again and Bayer again on the Lucian, so doing the same thing. But again, they've changed things up. They've now got Ysera on the Kali, so more backline access. You can try and get onto the Vayne in the backline.
And maybe the last game here for both sides is match point for J-Team. They just have to close out one more game, whereas Flash Wolves need to fight and claw back for 3. And you made the prediction here, 3-0s. One off with the Roaster Y1. Do we get to see Flash Wolves break that again?
Will they try and get it? But look, again, more trades in this bot. They're just constant fights all the time in this bot side of the map.
And somehow seems closer than what we had seen in game number 1.
Yeah, don't say that. That's really bad.
I'm just saying, you know, it just looks like Bruce and Easton are still winning the matchup a little bit, but Barry and DY making it closer. So we have to see how they execute this, make it work in their favor. Of course, on the Bruce and Easton side, I want to see them scale. I want to see them take their time a little bit more, but at the same time, not give away as much. We saw what happened in Game 2, not fighting for the objective trade, so we had Rift Tower go down and Dragon going down to J-Team. I want to see Flash Wolves take those exchanges better.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like J-Team have to Oh no, sorry. Flash Wolves have to try and stop this Rift Herald because I think J Team have been prioritizing Rift Herald quite a lot. They took 2 Rift Heralds in game number 1 and game number 2, and they were just taking small advantages through the towers. Now for the side of Flash Wolves, you have to stop this momentum. You have to somehow just stop J Team from rotating around the map. I want to see maybe a bit more vision control in the river from Flash Wolves. Get a few visions down, maybe get a few control wards in the river, maybe a few normal wards as well. And just try and read how J-Team are going to play, because they've had a few games against J-Team now. They know how they play. Flash Wolves know that J-Team love to rotate around the map. They love to group as 5 members. And at the same time, you have to think for Flash Wolves that you have to find a way to try and stop that.
It is very interesting that you've mentioned that about the vision, because you can see now Flash Wolves have actually made the attempt to set up vision around this bottom side here, right? You have multiple wards covering a lot of the entrance points for Cherry, who is towards the bot side, so kudos to them. They will know that this is going to be happening, but still at the same time, Flash Wolves have to keep this momentum going. I want to see them be able to be consistent with this and not only do it when they are even or hit, but also when they're behind.
Yeah, exactly. They need to make sure that they track down Cherry, because Cherry's performed really, really well. You know, 3 Wukong games in a row now for Cherry in this series, and he's performed extremely well. But as you mentioned, you know, the bot side, the vision, you can see blue wards, blue vision all across the river, as well as it's exchanges in the bot side. But
very good trade here from Bruce.
Again, Perry's the one this time that's just playing really aggressive in this lane against the Senna, and it's a losing matchup for Vayne in the early game, and you're just giving Senna more and more stacks.
You know how it is. It's the Vayne syndrome. You know, you gotta go in. You gotta do damage. You gotta get stuff done.
You know, I tweeted as well after the first game. I was like, Bruce played Vayne like I do in solo queue, an exact same result. I just lose with Vayne every single time. This is why I don't play Vayne. People will know. I do not play. Vayne and Draven are my 2 champions that I just cannot play. It's impossible. I just run it down.
Sure.
Not intentionally, by the way. Just saying. I'm just not as mechanically good with them champions, so it might look like I don't perform as well.
On the global broadcast, Stuart has openly exposed himself with his, let's say, gameplay.
Yeah, I would say gameplay. We won't talk about ints or anything like that. We'll say gameplay. I think gameplay is the right way to say.
Oh, of course. That's okay. I won't leave you hanging. I'm in the same boat as you are, so.
That's not bad then. I guess we're both as bad as each other.
Flash Wolves making the 4-man attempt in the bottom side. A catch on to Barry as Barry flashes away, still getting taken down. First blood going over to Flash Wolves.
And this is the exact same thing as what I was saying in draft. This is the change that I wanted. I wanted Cookie. I wanted Bio to rotate down to this bot side. Get Barry behind, because you don't want this Vayne to just free farm. You don't want the Vayne to scale. And I really like this. You know, Cookie going down to the bot side. They get the tower dive. They get the first blood as well. And that means that Bruce will get a little bit of an advantage. And the first blood did go into Cookie's hands as well. Ooh. So he's going to be able to complete the Black League.
Actually, very nice here. 1,500 gold up for Flash Wolves to start this game off. This is probably the biggest gold lead that we've seen from them in this series so far. And makes sense here. You have a couple of scaling options on the side J-Team. So I think we should be talking about this here. Flash Wolves versus J-Team. Both sides have scaling options. Who does what better in the late game?
Oh, I feel like Flash Wolves do have a bit of an advantage in the late game. It's actually very close in my opinion.
Sure.
You know, I think that it's all down to how Flash Wolves can shut down Berry. If they can shut down Berry and if they can take out this Vayne, then, you know, they'll be completely fine. But again, this is the same adaptation that I was talking about as well. Flash Wolves now instead prioritizing the Rift Herald instead of the J-Team, which means that they're just going to try and accelerate this gold lead that they have already.
With the tempo, you go for the Rift Herald instead, whereas the team that wants to scale goes to the Dragon. So J-Team secure the Ocean Drake for themselves. Pan pulls attention away from Flash Wolves.
I like this. I like this. Cookie, again, more proactiveness from Flash Wolves. They want to go in. They want to try and accelerate this gold lead even more. It was 1,500. They're now going to be able to get mid lane tower as well. There we go. First tower of the game. Rift Herald as well. And that's a great thing about Rift Herald. You're able to take down the first tower of the game. That's normally what you do most of the time with Rift Herald. You have the scaling on the other side with the Dragon. But now Flash Wolves, about 2,000 gold leads.
A good job done here by Flash Wolves, having acknowledged, like, okay, so here are our issues in game number 1 and 2, and now being able to respond by that. They get first challenge, they get the Rift Herald, they get a lot of early tempo against J-Team. We'll see if they're able to keep this one going, but so far, looking good.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think J-Team took the first 2 Rift Heralds of the first 2 games. They were able to accelerate the gold lead that they had in the early game, and now it's Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves like, okay, we realize that J-Team want to go for Rift Herald. Let's go for Rift Herald ourselves, and let's be on the front foot ourselves, because I think like Flash Wolves are we're playing very reactive in the first 2 games, but now they're the ones, look at this, playing proactive. 2 towers to 0 now for J Team, and I mean, so for Flash Wolves, sorry, and now Berry's going to try and get a tower for himself. They're going to try and get the mid lane tower, but there's no minions in the mid lane, but they will get the top tower, though, so that is a little bit of gold into Vayne's back pocket, but Flash Wolves doing a really, really good job in this early game.
But what I do like seeing here from Flash Wolves is that through those 2 turrets, they actually open up the map so much more.
Yep.
Right? Especially with the mid lane turret takedown, now they get to have so much more access. You can see the vision around both sides of the mid lane, giving them a little bit more security as they get to extend further into the map of J-Team.
And now this is one thing that J-Team does really well that I want to see Flash Wolves do. When J-Team open up the map, they look to get deep vision into the enemy jungle. They look to try and find out and figure out the rotations of where Flash Wolves is going. I want Flash Wolves to do that now. I want Flash Wolves to be like, okay, we need to get deep vision. We need to try and track down Cherry and Pan's rotation, because I feel like Cherry and Pan's rotation in this entire series of what's been make and break. And you can see as well, you know, the rotations and them grouping as 5 is what's been the main difference. So I want to see Flash Wolves use the wards that they have. And you can see that J-Team are in the enemy jungle. They're behind in gold, but they still feel confident enough to walk through the enemy jungle like this. It's
absolutely
crazy how confident they play.
It's a different look, right? When Flash Wolves are behind, they have difficulty trying to get into the enemy jungle, but when J-Team is behind, they are more than willing to take this exchange.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst case scenario here for J-Team? I lose a couple members, but I get so much more if I succeed.
It's crazy to me how J-Team still has this much confidence, even when they're behind in gold as well. We mentioned how J-Team do so well when they're ahead of gold in terms of taking over control of the map, but they're still trying to do the same when they're behind in gold. But now, Dawn might be in a bit of trouble.
Heavy rotations towards the top side. They're looking for the tag onto Dawn. Dawn taking a good deal of damage here. Might lose his life to the piercing light. Culling used as well, but a flash away in a barrier. Dawn gets away safely.
And that's another tower over to Flash Wolves. Again, it's Flash Wolves the one this time. I feel like the sides have completely swapped. I feel like Flash Wolves playing towards how J-Team have been playing this entire series with the aggression from the rotations around the map. Flash Wolves take 2 towers up in the top side. They're going to look to rotate to the mid lane. They might even try and catch out Pan here as well. I'm really loving this change from Flash Wolves.
The rest of J-Team very far away, and Pan rooted under turret. He does not have the hourglass. Gets knocked back here by Easton and still alive. Sarah might go down. One more dollar damage out from Pan, but will not be able to get it done. Cherry walks over, and of course, the Nimbus strike for the kill.
Was it the strike or was it smite? I think he might have just smited.
Was that smite?
I don't know actually. I don't know if he actually auto-attacked him or
like this mini animation where he kind of like twitched, like Cherry kind of twitched. The Wukong kind of like flinched a little bit, and then the kill went over.
Maybe
so I
it
was.
was.
I'm just gonna assume it was, but like, does it matter? It doesn't matter.
I thought it was just a big ego thing. It's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna smite you. You're dead anyway. You're low enough on health that smite will deal enough damage.
Does a challenging smite like do damage instantaneously? It's
yeah,
DOT.
It's straight.
Okay.
I don't think it's DOT. I think it's instant damage.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
With chilling smite,
you're really testing my knowledge now. I'm not a jungle main as well. I'm trying to think. Does it? I'm pretty sure it does do instant damage.
Blue smite I know is like instant damage. Yeah, we'll take it as it is. It's something killed him. Something killed Sarah.
Something. He's dead anyway. But now he's back alive anyway, and everyone's back on the map. But Dawn looking for the flank now, and
yeah.
I like how Flash Wolves are trying to again go for this Rift Tower. They're trying to fight as well, and actually for Flash Wolves, they could look to try and engage here because Dawn is completely split, and Ysera is just there by himself as well, just zoning Dawn from the rest of the team.
Telling you to try and keep them away, but Cherry gets decided to dive in. Rift Tower goes over the Flash Wolves, and Redemption comes through, dishing out an actual sizable amount of damage. Ysera off by the side as well. Pan looking for this re-entry angle, but they will not find it.
Really well played by Flash Wolves. They realized that Dawn was split up from the rest of the team. They used Ysera to distract Dawn away from the Rift Herald, and now they're going to move towards this Dragon as well. Flash Wolves look like a completely different team in this 3rd game. The first 2 games was all about J-Team taking control of the map and just being able to walk over Flash Wolves like they were just kids, really. But now Flash Wolves will come into the 3rd game like adults, and they come in for a fight.
I know what this is. I know what this is, Stuart. Right? Flash Wolves had not learned that cherries were not a droop prior to game number 3. And now with this new information in store, they now have anti-droop measures in plan, right? Cherry has not got one successful gank off, right? She's had a couple of good skirmishes, but not one good gank off, right? Anti-droop strategies now in play for Flash Wolves.
What would it even be an anti-troop strategy? I'm just trying to think through my head. It's like, what's an...
Don't worry about it.
How do you do you know what? We need to stop talking about fruits and vegetables and berries and cherries. Even though we do have berries and cherries in this. But it's flash balls that are going in onto Cherry this time.
There we go. Anti-jump strategies in play. Cherry nearly gets taken down. J-Team set running back into the jungle. Flash rolls now with the lead and pressing the advantage.
Yep, I love this from flash balls. I love this. They're pressing, like you said, they're pressing the advantage. They're playing aggressive as well. They have the, decent scaling as well with the center, but this Vayne has only died once from that tower dive in the bot side. Vayne has Blade Rune King, has Wit's End, going to go for more attack speed as well. And the later this game goes, the scarier Vayne gets. Vayne is one of the best, if not the best, late game scaling champions in the entire game, in the entire Wild Rift champion roster. And
with Lulu.
Yeah, with Lulu by her side as well, means that more shields, more heals, more attack speed, and more damage as well. Has the exhaust, and I feel like Flash Wolves, they have champions to deal with though. They have the Gragas, which has the potential to deal with it. Going for a lot more damage as well. They can use the explosive cast to try and split up the rest of the team from Berry. You have the Akali as well that can jump in onto the backline. So Flash Wolves, I feel like, have ways to deal with Vayne this game.
So it's about Flash Wolves being able to execute and get that done. Having Eason, having Cookie, multiple options. But of course, on the side of J-Team, it's not just a single threat that you have to worry about. You still have Dawn and Cherry in play here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you still have them to just... I think Dawn's going to be really the secondary carry here. And look at this again, Flash Wolves on the front foot. They want to try and get more towers. This could be their 5th tower of the game. I think this is more towers than they got in the first 2 games in total. And this is, like I said, this is a whole different Flash Wolves team from what we saw from the first 2 games. And honestly, I'm really, really liking it. And now they're starting to get some deep vision as well. You see they've got a few wards now in the jungle territory of J-Team. They're pushing on the pressure as well. With only Baron up and available, I don't think they're going to actually risk taking the Baron at all. But they could look towards it. I mean, they don't have the fastest Baron clear team in total, but...
They don't have the Vayne.
They can, exactly. They can look to try and bait J-Team in, which is what J-Team did really well. They baited Flash Wolves in the first 2 games. They were like, okay, you need to come to us because you don't have vision. I want to see Flash Wolves do the same now. You can see in the goal lead as well. Flash Wolves had a goal lead throughout this entire game, and they're looking really, really good in this 3rd game.
I mean, it's only a kill apiece, but Flash Wolves have been able to find 5 turrets in that time. They've been able to make moves around the map, and even that 5th turret before the Baron spawned, and so they were able to go back to base, reset, and come back in. Now, I like what Flash Wolves are doing. It's something you've mentioned earlier as well, Stuart. Vision in the enemy side of the jungle, but it's in the bottom side where there are no objectives to be had. Flash Wolves need to move that vision line towards the Baron and set up shop there.
And maybe they're just preparing for the Dragon, which should be coming up fairly soon. Not too sure of the exact time, maybe about 1 minute 30, 2 minutes away from that Dragon. Maybe they're just early preparing for the Dragon because they know that if Dragons go over to the side of J-Team, that means it's just going to be more scaling for them, especially the Mountain Dragon as well, which means they're going to get that little bit of extra shielding. But you can see that they're starting to move towards this Baron, but J-Team, they're not taking a risk. They're not moving forward. They're trying to death brush themselves in their own jungle this time. They're just like, okay, if we can't do it in your jungle, we'll do it in our own jungle instead. But you can see, wait, are they starting it?
Yeah, they got vision. They started up the Baron.
It's half health already. They're going to get it.
Have no idea. It's already down to 4,000. Redemption finally comes down. J-Team have some idea this is going on. Cherry quickly runs into the pit. But he's too far away. The Flash will not be able to get him in pit in time. Flash will sneak away the Baron away from J-Team without them knowing.
They snuck it away. That was perfectly well played by Flash Wolves. They used the vision control. J-Team were like, okay, you're not going to do this. J-Team, I think on the back of 9 were like, you're not going to do this, Flash Wolves. You're not going to be able to take Baron that quickly. But I beg to differ. I think I kind of misplayed myself really there. They were able to take down Baron fast enough, and now Flash Wolves, what are they going to do with this Baron? They need to try and get more towers, try and get more of advantage as well. The next Dragon is up in 10 seconds, and Flash Wolves are on the front foot.
3 items in the back pocket of Barry at this point, and so he has enough damage to have an impact in these fights, but still a worrisome situation here for JD. They're going to give away the Dragon. No point fighting the Baron and Powered Flash Wolves at this point. They just want to keep things going long enough to ensure they have a secured win.
Yep, for sure. They're going to look to try and split the map now. They've got 1 member in the mid, 2 members in the mid lane, sorry, 3 members in the bot side of the map. So they're going to try and use the Baron powered up minions to try and push multiple lanes, and this is what you want to do with Baron, you know, for people at home. If you've got Baron buff, you want to try and push multiple lanes at once. Try not to get caught out, obviously, but try and push multiple ways like this. Create different sources of pressure around the map. And if you can do this, then J-Team have to decide, okay, do we go to the bot lane or do we go to the mid lane? Instead, they're going to try and look for a fight.
Perhaps picked up on
the explosive
Ethan, but a
cast!
huge explosive cast, and not bad. J-Team taking down Pan right away, but still looking towards Barry to see if he has damage to finish off the fight. Sarah dives into the base of J-Team. Barry outputting damage. He's kiting between Flash Wolves, but 5 members stand in his way. Flash Wolves pick up the bot side inhibitor. Now, continuing the fight, Barry gets hit by the exhaust, trading back. They move on to Bruce. Baya still outputting damage. Cherry gets caught in a bad position. Quickly dashing in the
he's dead!
to take down Cherry. 3 dead on the side of J-Team. Flash
They're gonna try and end.
get chance. They have 5 still left alive. Barry taking damage, taking shots from Flash Wolves. They go on to the next.
They're gonna end
There's no chance for J-Team to fight back. Flash Wolves will game back against J-Team.
I love it. The adaptation from Flash Wolves in this game was perfect. It's exactly what I was saying in draft. I want them to be on the front foot, go for the Rift Heralds, take down the towers, make sure that Berry gets put behind. Cookie with the early roams down in the bot side. Bayer with the early roams down into the bot side as well. And Flash Wolves. This is a whole different team coming into this third game, and I love it.
You hear the faintest heartbeat in Flash Wolves right now, but the signs of life are there still. And so Flash Wolves, a chance here maybe to pull back. I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to get too excited about this, but definitely a strong game for them. A response back against J-Team, who tried to be a little bit cheeky there. They're like, we're on match point. We can do this. And they tried to pull the same strategy with the Vayne, but Flash Wolves, I mean, if they knew what they wanted to go for, they know how to punish it. And we saw that preparation come to play.
Exactly. It would have been really bad if Barry did like, okay, we'll play the center into Vayne, we'll win that matchup, and then we'll do the reverse. We'll beat you with Vayne as well, but it just shows that how difficult it is for a Vayne to try and lane against the center as well. Like I said, the roams from Cookie and also from Bio down into the bot side as well. They got the first tower, they got the first Rift Herald as well, and they just accelerated the gold lead. They got the deep vision, they were able to sneak out that Baron as well, and that was that victory point. They snuck the Baron and they were able to end the game with that.
J-Team hit the redemption button a little bit too late, did not have information in time, and so we're late to spot that one out, and it goes over to Flash Wolves in the end. Well, I've got 2 more WCS casters and WCS fans over on the analyst desk. So guys, is this a chance? Is this something to be excited about? What's going on?
Digon, I got Digon. What's this?
What's going on?
I'm asking. I don't know, Stuart. I don't know what that is. I don't. Please, I have no idea what that is.
What's in our hands, Digon?
Your hands are in your hands. All right, Riku, what are your quick thoughts here? That's the question. We got something here for the WCS. I almost said it.
Quick thoughts. First of all, DY not on an engaged champion anymore, and we got to see Barry on a Vayne that will take a while to take off. And this time around, they did a little bit of a swap on approach, and J-Team now on the slower side. Flash Wolves on a fair quote faster side.
That very much felt like J-Team kind of disrespecting Flash Wolves a little bit, looking past them and trying to send a message, but then kind of stumbled in terms of the draft and being able to do anything in this one.
No, honestly, Digon, it really is what it felt like in that game tree. It felt just like J-Team was saying, whatever you guys can do, we can do better. Let us teach you how to play the Vayne comp.
Yeah.
Because that was not a good Vayne spot. What is your Vayne countering in that draft there? Really just the Olaf. Every other champion is happy to play into the Vayne there. It just felt to me like a bit of ego coming in from J-Team maybe, and Flash was punished very well.
Right. Yeah, I want to take a look at the draft again, right? This is mainly from game number 2. Remember, the last 2 picks were very similar, always towards DY and Barry. And this basically said that, hey, we saw everything that Flash Wolves has drafted. They had Olaf, they had Lucian, they had Akali, Gragas, Senna, and then J-Team's like, nah, we can take them on. We were fine. Vayne and Lulu still. We're going to commit to this and just as almost said and show them that we can do this better. But in the end, they struggled as part of the script. You know, Vayne lanes are very hard to grow, basically, because you just have to hammer down, keep being aggressive at the bottom lane, and that's exactly what Flash Wolves did.
Yeah, again, a lot of lack of kills, a lot of positioning, a lot of strategic vision and skirmishes that didn't lead to kills, but then did lead to the Baron sneak there. I liked seeing this from Flash Wolves because coming into this, it felt very lifeless from this squad, like there were no answers, but then we finally get to see something from them.
Honestly, Digon, this was such a Flash Wolves way to win a game. Like Riku said just now, right? Until they were marching onto the Nexus doors, the KDA, the kill scores was 1-1. They just sneaked the Dragons, they sneaked the Baron, and that's how they won the game. The only adaptation that Flash Wolves made, and I don't want to say I called it, but I said they needed the Olaf in game 2. Not just for the fighting, not just for the skirmishing power, but also because it gives them control of zones, and J-Team will respect that. That's what ended up giving them the Dragons, the Barons, the objectives, and that's how they won the game here.
And it's crazy to me, right, that we saw 1-1 and the only ever last clash that we saw that increased the kill score was basically the fight before the Nexus dropped. I think that's absolutely insane. Just as Omo said, it's a very Flash Wolves way to win.
Flash Wolves.
Flash Wolves. They're
Flash
playing their own style,
Wolves.
which is very slow. And which means that, again, this is a BO5 series, and when we look at the WCS record, every game Flash Wolves has won once it reaches the final game, which is game number 5.
Yeah, Flash Wolves have been the game 3 or game 5 kings in every tournament they play, basically. I think this entire year, they haven't lost a single series that went to match point. So if they win this next game, I don't want to say they can reverse sweep that. I don't want to jinx anything here, but they could do it. Hypothetically.
He doesn't want to jinx anything here. We've heard this before, Omo. We've heard this before.
Yeah,
so Flash Wolf fans, you know who to blame. At Omo_2.
Omo2 underscore.
Omo2 underscore. Let's make sure we
don't
get
send
it
hate mail
correct
to the
here.
wrong guy.
Take a look at the sorry, other Omo. Take a look at the damage charts there in the gold. Basically, Flash Wolves just playing a game of Wild Rift that you don't need to match the hands here. And I think it's a little different because J-Team has had the better fights so far. We've called out the Riven on the top side of the map. We've called the Wukong multiple times here for Cherry in the jungle. But this time it was more like, oh, you want to make a move? Can't go here, we're already ready. You want to make a move? Oh, can't come here, we're already ready as well. And J-Team kind of picked themselves a Dragon Laner that wasn't going to be additive to those fights, who has been key in games 1 and 2. So again, kind of feels like you go back to the draft that J-Team did, sending a message to the rest of the tournament saying like, okay, well, we can't play everything that we want, but we still, you know, in that game were competitive and felt like they were playing it and forcing Flash Wolves to win the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even feel like it's a case of J-Team can't play Vayne Lulu. I feel like they just forced that too hard in this game. They definitely can. I think they handled the lane very well in terms of not bleeding out too much. But they just gave over too many tools, right? You give over Senna Gragas, that's one of the best duos here for Flash Wolves. You give over Lucian Olaf, just so much raw power in the mid-jungle 2v2, and then they dive you, and it's all over.
It's really very sad, right? Because the weakness of a Vayne lane is not only you're weak early, is that you have 0 wave clear. And the fact that you're up against Senna and Gragas, who are just gonna wave clear, set up dives constantly, and I think that's the scary part.
That's a very good point. If you think about the draft that J-Team, and Riku, that's brilliant. Yeah,
Zero wave? What?
Zero wave
Why
clear.
is that so surprising?
No, it's not surprising, but it's just, well, yeah, that's a very...
I don't think that was surprising. I thought that was a compliment.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
thank
Riku, that's an amazing point. I didn't even think about that. Singe, Vayne, Riven, Wukong, who's gonna wave clear? Lulu Q, Glitterlines.
Get him, Pix!
Yeah, the old full AP Lulu. Man, those days are... that's aging me.
Leave him in the
It's the Yumi AP now, Digo.
Yeah, keep up with the times.
Lulu 4, season 5, Lulu. All right.
Oh,
in
he's
the
talking
mid
like
lane.
a grandpa.
All right. Okay. All right. I will say, though, after Flash Wolves got that win, we got to see probably the most emotion we've seen from Flash Wolves since play-ins. Because in knockouts, it felt pretty procedural. Here, you know, they're like, oh, well, Bruce is inting. All right, game 1, Bruce is inting. All right, game 2, we're all kind of getting dominated. Bruce is kind of like inting again, you know, flashing on the Senna. Here, game 3, big shout at the end of it. And it's like, okay, we belong. I think that is so important for Flash Wolves to feel right now because those first 2 games weren't just losses, they were demoralizing losses.
Yeah, and honestly, Flash Wolves, it's such a prestigious organization as well. The players on the team Flash Wolves right now have such long and storied past playing PC League of Legends competitively as well. I think, honestly speaking, until they reach the playoffs, it didn't really matter to them. Those wins don't matter. The wins only start to matter when you play against the best teams in the world for players of their pedigree.
For sure. Same thing goes for Coach Badwolf again. Yeah. I wanted to note this because during the draft, right, coaches come to the middle and do like, you know, the fist bump, handshake, whatever. Madwolf did not like that draft. He barely got to the middle, and it was a long reach on over to J-Team's coach after that one, being like, really, you gonna pick the Vayne Lulu with you could have picked anything Vayne Lulu? That's messed up, man. And so Flash Wolves coming back, getting the punish to get themselves the win here. You know, what I liked about what Flash Wolves did, they changed the priority away a little bit now into the Olaf to put something into him, allow the jungle to carry there for Cookie. But we haven't seen any adaptations necessary for J-Team. Very exciting. Now we can see if J-Team's going to be like, all right, we double down on this, we're going to be better, or if they're going to change the strategy completely.
I feel like they just have to revert back to the Barry DY 2v2 aggressive combo, being aggressive early, DY on something that can enable start fights like the set, Gragas, Galio, super strong, honestly.
Well, here we go. Game number 4 underway again. Flash Wolves need to win 2 in a row to make it to the semifinals and be the first WCS team to make it on through, or just 1 win here for J-Team.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but J-Team lost that game, so they get side selection, and they pick red.
That is correct.
I think J-Team don't want to show anything. It genuinely just feels like J-Team don't want to show anything. They just said, you know what? Let's just ban away the Olaf. Maybe let's just pick a stronger bot lane, like Riku was saying, and we're still going to win. We are the better team.
Yeah, every single time, right? 2 games in a row, it has been the priority of Barry and DY. J-Team now removing the Senna, which is absolutely safe. One of the best champions in the bot lane. But now that means, are we going to be seeing a Varus this time around? Or Corki, just as you said, for first pick?
It should be a Corki, because I don't really peg Flash Wolves as a Varus team. Yeah. Lucian maybe, but gone are the days of the Lucian first pick that we saw every game in playoffs.
Wow!
No! Not again!
This is super interesting because J-Team Cherry, he loves his Wukong. He will always prioritize the Wukong on his first rotation on red side. So this is super interesting that Flash Wolves prioritizes the Kha'Zix.
You literally just run back Wukong Cinch for the 5,000th time here.
Oh, wow. This is interesting.
Yeah, and it sticks to the plan if we are assuming so that J-Team are like, hey, you know what? We've got bigger fish to fry, and it's called WRL squads in the finals. There's
All Team Flash.
Yep.
All Team Flash in the semis, maybe.
Or that, yes. Absolutely. And again, just as Omo said, we're not going to be surprised if this is
Singed.
A Singed again or a Riven again, because primarily all we've been seeing is Barry and DY having a lot of priority to not reveal and make sure that they have a nice counter lane on that big 2v2, because again, they've been winning in that lane for the entirety of that series.
Here we go. Ooh, they took away the Lucian here. Okay, so we are seeing something different.
Wow. Okay, J-Team starting to show some respect here, snatching some key picks away from Flash Wolves. Olaf, Senna, Lucian, 3 out of 5 of the pieces of their win last game now removed from Flash Wolves. What 2s do you have left?
Honestly, you can still pick the Corki, right? Because we know that Abaya will play a lot of these AD carries in
they should
the mid
play
lane.
Singed.
That's true, but that's the thing.
Yeah,
Baya
but you lose the
is
flex, right?
You do lose the flex.
Yeah.
You always want to put Baya on that big wave clear.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that in case Bruce picks up Vayne again, picks up no, it's a Ziggs.
Okay, this is okay.
Okay.
Not bad, but then now you need some CC in those last couple of picks here for your support and for your top laner.
If they're going for a classic, oh my word. Okay, first off, if you're going for a classic double poke composition, triple poke, by the way, with the Void Spikes on Kha'Zix, you need Gragas, you need big disengage, because J-Team, I'm sure they're going to double down on engage. They have a lot of CC, Cyclone, the bindings from the Lux. This is scary so far.
Yeah, J-Team's comp right now packing a lot of raw power, but Flash Wolves, this fits their style very well. A lot of wave clear, a lot of scaling, a lot of long-range teamfight options, very safe, and that's the name of the game for the Flash Wolves.
But this kind of setup here feels a little like game number 1, where it's like, okay, if you're Cookie, what lane are you going to set up for kills? I feel like you need a kill, like a kill setup down on the bottom side of the map or the top side.
To Raptors, to Wolves, to Grom. That's where I'm going.
That's it, yeah.
And then scuttle and ignoring the bottom side of the map.
And then base, and then repeat.
Yeah, because you just wave clear. Flash Wolves will just wave clear, wait for 15 minutes, and then that's the time they land all the hurt and the poke against J-Team.
Well, J-Team now going through.
Gragas back.
Gragas taken away, and here it is. That was the one that you were talking about the most. Riku as a good engage, but more importantly, disengage tool for Flash Wolves to pick the fight when they want. Rakan taken away, so you could see the two teams thinking here. It was, okay, Ysera didn't get blasted on the top side of the map, and the Akali became a problem later on. And the 2 hyper-engaged tools from the support role by Flash Wolves taken away does leave the set Set is still open here.
Galio.
Galio still open, which we got to see earlier in today's match.
I think you're pretty happy with both a Garen or a Darius here for Ysera. Even if you want to run back the Renekton, these picks are all fine here. But J-Team's Galio just very clearly shows that they're playing the Lux Galio combo, and this is the WRL kill lane combo. It's not the farm, it's not the scale, it's not utility. This lane has a lot of burst damage, and they will try to burst you down if they catch you out.
And that's the scary part, right? Because that means J-Team is pivoting on Pan. We know when Pan uses a Lucian, it's absolutely scary. I like this from Flash Wolves. They've got both disengage and engage because, again, they pretty much already lost the Gragas in this draft. So I like this from Flash Wolves.
Yeah. What they sorely needed was a champion that can, one, give you crowd control, and a champion that lets you face check into Lux, into Galio. Galio gives you, Alistar gives you both, and that's a fantastic pickup.
All right, final pick here, Baron Lantern with
Really
the
nice.
Garen. So you got the tankiness. You are lacking a lot of CC options, but you do have some, and you definitely have some disengage here. It feels like if you're Flash Wolves, you're fighting around objectives, and you need to be there first. If you're not, you do have Alistar to get in, but you only have one opportunity to kind of face on in with the ult, and there it is, final pick coming on through Darius on the top side of the map.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because Flash Wolves just wants to poke, and aim more of these objectives around the Rift Herald, around their dragons, and I think that's going to be their biggest strength. The biggest problem is that, yes, Alistar, not as strong as the explosive cast for disengage, and J-Team has a big all-in type of composition. They've got early to mid, strong damage across the board. That is my biggest worry. Again, the early game once more, Digon.
Yeah, well, we saw that in game number 3. Both teams are going tit for tat without getting into fights. This one's going to be all about setting up the objectives early, getting there first, and seeing who can burst down who in this team fight. Will it be a game number 5? Let's find out by sending it back on over to Grandin and Stewart for the cast.
Well, I'll tell you what, Deacon. The heart rate monitor shows just a squiggle right now, but we have something there in Flash Wolves taking back a game against J-Team. Now is the opportunity to pull back and go into a full 5 game. What's that on our hands, Stuart? Series, that's right. As J-Team need to close things out now, will default back to a composition they've been looking good on, but also with some adaptations, acknowledging what we've seen from Flash Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they, you know, like you said, J-Team, they've gone back to what Omo said, you know, they kill pressure bot lane. That's the big thing, you know, the Lux Galio bot lane. This just shows you want to go in, you want to play aggressive, and that's how J-Team have been winning this game. They're not going to go for the scaling bot lane this time. And wow, this is Bruce on an AP champion.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
He's done it before, but we
That's
wanted to see.
crazy.
But we were hoping to see him in the hyper carry. Didn't work out in games 1 and 2. Now they default back towards the Ziggs. Need someone to play it, be stable with it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to a pick that works well in general for most teams. Ziggs is a champion that, even if you're behind, you still feel like the Ziggs does the most damage in the entire game because of how much poke damage he can do, how safe he can be as well. And I think that, you know, against the likes of, again, it's just this bot lane playing super aggressive.
Very used there by Bruce. Same from Barry's side, I believe. Just trading back and forth, and we already got to start to see some of that power in the bot side aggression.
Again, it's Bruce stepping a little bit too far forward. Has to blow his flash now as well. And their 2 big summoners gone now for Bruce. No flash and no barrier. And on the side of J-Team, they still have both flashes. They have Barry's Lux flash and they have DY's flash. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if Barry and DY try to look for a flash play to try and kill Bruce in this early game.
If they are able to get that ahead, but we already start to see DY rotating around, so not even focusing on the bot side exclusively, still wants to find himself around the map, get some presence down, set up a shop alongside Cherry in the mid lane to help out Pan.
This is really, really interesting. So both supports now deciding to roam instead into the mid lane, more towards the top side as well. You can see the DY is rotating back down to the bot side, and so is Eason as well. But this is different from what we've seen from both teams, really. Both teams have really been, both supports really, you know, we saw DY as like this very aggressive roaming support, but I feel like in this series, he's been very much sitting with Berry and trying to get that 2 versus 2 advantage. But now maybe on a more aggressive support like Gario, maybe Eason on this Alistar, then maybe they're going to look to try and play more aggressive, try and play for the roams as well. As you can see, it's just constant trades in this bot side of the map so far.
Looking for some damage.
Another flash gone?
Another flash burnt very quickly, acknowledging that there is some risk there by facing off against Pan. Pan with a good amount of damage. Won't have his level 5 if he did. Could have very likely turned into a kill.
Yeah, if he had level 5 there, he definitely could have used his Culling to try and get the kill there. I really want Cherry to try and focus towards this bot side as well now, you know, with no flashes on Bruce, no flash on Eason, and with this kill pressure lane that J-Team have, Cherry can easily move down to the bot lane, try and get even a tower dive in the early game as well, because, you know, Bruce on the Ziggs doesn't do too much in the early game. Eason does have a little bit of disengage, but I feel like this is where J-Team can really come out on top.
Maybe a dive here. A lot of potential here for J-Team with Cherry having his ultimate now. They could potentially make their way down to the bot side. But of course, Cookie will be here as well. So if they make a play here and attempt to go for a dive or a gank, Cookie could potentially respond as well.
Now, I wonder if Flash Wolves know that this is going to happen, because oh my god, I completely forgot what the name's called. What's the name of the red trinket?
The Sweeping Lens.
Sweeping Lens. Wow, I just completely blew over my mind. But yeah, Sweeping Lens was used, so maybe Flash Wolves maybe think that there's a lane gank incoming. They are playing a little bit more passive, and Cherry's just going to go back to base instead, but I think the Flash Wolves have to play passive now in this bot side. Bruce does have his flash back up now, so he should be completely fine. And he has his barrier back up, but...
Yeah, what a start here from both sides, right? JT not able to pull a lead ahead, something very different from the past 2 games. Flash Wolves doing an amazing job of stalling things out. And of course, we have this Ysera, Dawn, Garen, Darius matchup again.
Yeah.
Something that we saw in the first game.
Yep.
And honestly, did not really go either side's way. Ysera held his own and did decently against Dawn.
Yeah, I felt like both the Baron lane and the mid lane for both J-Team and Flash Wolves have been pretty even, to be honest. I think it's just all been about the bot lane in this series so far. And saying that, there's a little bit of exchange in the top side, but nothing too much yet. But now we've got 45 seconds until the first Rift Herald and first Dragon come online, and I think it's all about the early objectives in this series now. It's all about the Rift Heralds. What team can get the Rift Herald and what team can try and get that early advantage. You can see DY is already roaming to the top side, so is Eason as well. So they're already trying to get that mid lane priority to try and get vision around that Rift Herald, which is up in 25 seconds time.
And it looks like JT might be able to get some control around it first. It seems like Baya will be a little bit late to go back to base. Won't be able to pick up his package as quickly as he would possibly like here. No, still gets to go back quite on time here, so not that big of a loss. A good amount of damage onto J-Team as they wander down towards the bot side river, looking for some control on the Dragon. They lose some health instead.
I'm not too sure. I mean, they use Mega Inferno Bomb, which means that won't be available for this Dragon fight. And instead, both teams are looking to try and go towards this first Dragon instead. Mountain Dragon's not really considered the strongest, but J-Team, they still want to fight.
Eason over in the pit right now. We still
Baya
have
has
the
package.
first use of the Cyclone. Eason over by the back, needs to flash away. Baya comes in with the package, uses it. Dashes over towards DY. DY comes through, still alive at this point. Baya not able to finish off the kill, but the final takes of damage for the package will take down DY. Now back in the mid lane, focus now onto Bruce. Dawn chasing, hunting for a kill by his Pan that comes through with a relentless pursuit to pick up the kill instead. Exhaust lands on the Pan. A few more honor attacks out from Baya will get the job done, but instead J-Team are able to bring the Lucian to safety.
Yeah, beautiful play. And again, you know, Cookie coming into this draft, the analyst desk weren't too confident with his Kha'Zix, and I kind of feel the same as well. He didn't really perform too well in the first 2 games on this Kha'Zix, and again, they're trying to sneak away the Dragon. They weren't able to take it in the end, and instead, it was J-Team that were able to take away the Dragon, get the kill advantage, and also take that mid lane tower. But now Flash Wolves are going to try and look to take that Rift Tower instead.
Yeah, over by the back, Cherry's coming in, gets hit but away. Stolen away by Barry! Barry steals away the Rift Herald!
Oh... That's not good. That is not good.
And then Stewart just goes, yeah. That's not good. And, well, all right, Flash Wolves, time for the recovery plan. What happens now? You lost the Dragon, you lost 3 kills, and then you let the Rift Herald get stolen away. Well, I shouldn't say let. I mean, you know, they can't do anything about that. They blocked Cherry. You know, they did what they had to do, but sometimes unfortunate things happen. Oh, early Coca-Cola pop-off.
It's the Coca-Cola pop-off. Was it the E? It was just E, wasn't it? Wow.
The pop-off is the pop of the Luxie.
The pop of the E, yeah, the pop of the Luxie. And again, you know, J-Team trying to look again towards this top side. More tower dives and more aggression.
That's kind of crazy. Diving top side, Garen and Ysera obviously still very tanky, and so we start to see J-Team unable to finish off the dive. The Rift Tower finally now being used. But Dawn went down. I mean, they got Eason as well.
Yeah, I mean, J-Team, they've got 3 towers now. Look at the goal lead already. You know, we were talking about the early game and kind of taking that momentum from the early game with the Rift Herald and also the Dragon. In this game, it wasn't actually the Rift Herald that actually got the advantage for J-Team. It was just having the better 5 versus 5 composition in the early game. You know, you have, you know, likes of the Lux, you have the Galio, you have the Wukong as well. These are champions that are really, really strong during the early game. The Corki package, you know, was good from Bayer in that Dragon fight, but Cookie, he was in the fight, he was taking so much damage from the Dragon, he wasn't able to do anything. Then they try and go for the Rift Herald instead, they try and go for a plan B, even though they lost first tower of the game, they get that stolen away, and now for Flash Wolves, I think we're looking at plan C, plan D now. How do they try and get back into this game? They have to try and look towards trying to get a little bit of scaling online with Bruce and Bayer. Bruce does have a few items, but already is about 1,000 gold behind. Even the same mid lane as well.
So much has been happening throughout this game, but frankly, Flash Wolves have not been behind for most of it. How have the Flash Wolves been losing these fights, losing these exchanges against J-Team? Does J-Team just have the better early game comp in the situation? This is letting them get away with all this?
Yeah, I think it's just the kind of what J-Team have been deciding to pick, you know, this pick potential comps that we saw from games 1 and 2. In games 3, we didn't really see it that much. You know, games 3 was more of like, okay, let's play Vayne Lulu, let's try and do something as a pause does come in. Hopefully we'll get that sorted very, very shortly. But yeah, for J-Team, they're coming into this 4th game, and now they're like, okay, let's go back to what worked in game number 1 and game number 2. Let's go back to this pick comp. Let's go back to this CC comp, easy to execute as well. And that's exactly what they're doing, and they already have a crazy goal lead as well.
We need to see how J-Team intend to close this one out, because we've seen they were able to approach things quite well before when they had to pick off compositions, stuff like the Darius, stuff like the Singe, you know, made it very easy for them to play for. Now slightly different here, they have much squishier members, which could be punishable here by Flash Wolves. So if Flash Wolves are able to find those moments and those opportunities, I don't want to count on Flash Wolves yet.
No, of course not. You can never count out Flash Wolves. I feel like Flash Wolves, you know, they have the Ziggs, they have the Corki as well. They still have, you know, a little bit of Skano on the hands as well. You know, you still got the Garen being a tank in the top side of the map. You still have the Kha'Zix as well. And I feel like there's a lot of wave clear on the side of Flash Wolves as well, which will make it difficult for J-Team to try and finish off this game. You have the Corki with the wave clear, you have the Kha'Zix with the spikes as well for the wave clear, and also the Ziggs as well. So it's going to be difficult for J-Team to try and close out this game. But at the moment, they're on the front foot. And, you know, what we've seen before, whatever team is on the front foot, whatever team gets that early game lead, has been able to close out the game so far in the series.
A moment to breathe here for both sides as they try to get this resolved quickly so we can go back into game. I can only imagine the pressure on Flash Wolves right now, knowing that they have to win 2 games back-to-back against one of the best teams in the world. Flash Wolves have proven their ability, making their way in from the play-in stages to the knockout stages, but now it's about finishing and getting to a point where they can say, yes, we are one of the top 4 teams in the world.
Yeah, that's the difficult part, is that when you lose the first 2 games in a best-of-5 series, you have to think of something different. You have to think, like you said, every game counts now, really.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great thing about the stage, by the way. You have to see the coaches now.
Yeah, you get to see the tunnel coming through, and you get to sit down. This is that's the chair where a lot of players have been very sad at.
Oh no, don't say that. Because when I think of players getting sad, I could just think of Europe. That's all I can think of.
Look, there are 2 things that are consistent. There are two esports poses, right? Everyone knows the standard esports pose, which is the one where you cross your hands, right, around your chest. You know, you cross your arms around your chest, and that's the first esports pose, right? The second esports pose is the one where you're like sitting, and you have like your elbows on your your knees, and and then you have like your hand palms in front of your face. Yeah, that's the second esports pose. Like you got the 2 positions, the 2. There are 2 esports poses that will always exist no matter which title you go in and look at. It's just a matter of which one you get to see more of.
In the side of WRL, you see a lot of crossing hands. You see a lot of you know, happy poses for WRL. As for the other regions, you see a lot of face palms.
Which is actually really fun, because like when they have like the little pop-off like photo-taking moment at the end of the game after they win, you know, you get to see like that creativity, and like some teams are like really wild. They love to do like fun things with like the photos, and some teams are just like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna get you with the esports pose.
We're gonna call it that now. Every single time you see chat as well, every single time you see a team or a player crossing arms, it's an esports pose.
It's an esports pose.
There you go.
That 100% is. I'm not claiming credit for this. This is known fact. This is just a known fact.
Learning about esports 101 with Grandin.
Absolutely. I cannot tell you the number of times I'm sure esports photographers have gone and said, how about something else? Or
But yeah, on the side of Flash Wolves, I mean, hopefully we'll get the pause and the issue sorted very shortly. But yeah, on the side of Flash Wolves, they have fallen behind in this game. It is very, very difficult for them to try and get back into this game now because they have got the early game disadvantage. I think they're, if I remember correctly, about 5,000 goal behind.
Right.
Which is a very, very difficult position to be in, especially with a comp that likes to, poke, with the Kha'Zix, with the Ziggs, and also the Corki. Most of the time with that comp, you want to be on the aggressive side. You want to try and create them zoning points around the map, create the points around the map and the vision control to allow to be able to get the extra advantages. But these are the highlights that we've seen so far in this game. But this was really the first fight. The first fight of this game that, Easton had to flash away. Cookie's just on the sideline. And again, it's really difficult for him to actually get in. And instead, he dies to Cherry. And this was kind of how it all really started for J-Team, how they really got the advantages.
I mean, if you look at that fight, do you feel like Bio should just use his package to join into the fight? Do you feel like waiting for an ideal package was too greedy?
I think in a situation like that, it's quite difficult because Bio has to be like, okay, do you try and zone everyone away from the pit, or do you try and go onto Cherry and try and kill out Jerry? And then this was a great steal from Berry in the end, which was very, very nice to see that. Sometimes, you don't need Smite to be able to steal objectives. Sometimes you just need a Lux E. That's all you need.
Of course, we have our fan zone as well. So for all you guys here in Singapore and want to drop by Marina Bay Sands, by the convention center, you guys can come in, take photos with your favorite cosplayers, and just overall have a good time. I know Degon's talking about the food and drink. Of course he is. But it's about the vibes. It's about enjoying esports. That's what the fun is. You guys get to play 5v5s in the event venue with the phones they loan you. It's more fun to play with friends.
That's fun. That'd be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe we should go try that.
We should. Let's ditch this cast.
1v1?
Let's ditch this cast. Oh, well, I don't know about that one.
It's fine. I'll play Yumi and you can play Garrus.
Oh. I see how it is. My co-caster taking shots at me. All right. Tell you what, guys. How's your Mundo 1v1, Stuart?
Oh, no.
See that?
I was about to say, I already lost the 1 versus 1 twice, actually, to an SEA player already. Shout outs to Leroy.
Good job, Leroy. You took down Stuart. You did it for me. The second win was for me, right? I know it is.
Dr. Mundo's not my main champion, I have to say. Dr. Mundo is not a champion that I have a lot of practice on.
Of course, we are going back in the game now. J-Team putting some pressure down the mid side and in the bot side at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And then, J-Team, as I said, it's about a 5,000 goal lead now for J-Team. So they're going to look to try and go around the map. They're going to try and look to get that deep vision that we know that J-Team love to do. They're going to group as 5, and they have a composition that's different this time. They have a composition that has a lot of potential. You're going to look for the Lux light bindings. You're going to look for the Wukong ultimates. You're going to look for DY going in as well. And you just have to keep an eye on this mini-map to see how Flash Wolves do in terms of vision in their own jungle, in terms of defensive vision, because that's what I want to see from Flash Wolves. I want to see defensive vision so they know where J-Team is rotating around the map.
Well, J-Team, if you guys have not been following up until this point and are joining us only now, J-Team have got themselves 3 turrets, are looking at a 4th. That is where the bulk of the gold difference is coming in from. Flash Wolves need to find a way to respond, but they're having difficulty keeping up with the fast-paced aggression that we see from J-Team.
Exactly, you can see from the goal leads as well, mid lane is nearly 2,000 goal behind at the moment for Bayer. Jungle is fairly even, top lane's 2,000 goal behind. Bot lane's doing okay, but they're the big parts, is that, the solo lanes for JT.
Let's start talking about what happens next. Rift Tower coming up in under 15 seconds, Dragon in under 30. J-Team now looking to get control around both sides. How do Flash Wolves fight for this?
And Flash Wolves, they have to try and decide what they want to do. Do they just give up this Rift Herald? It looks like they do. But again, look at the vision of J-Team in the top side of the map. They have 4 wards in the enemy jungle for Flash Wolves. They know whether Flash Wolves are going to be there or not. They don't see them on that side, so they know, like, J-Team know that, okay, if they're not in that side of the jungle, they're all down in the bot lane.
5 towards the bottom end of the map. Dawn will not be able to stop the turret from falling here. The first turret going over the Flash. Shows the response coming through. They're looking for a knock-up and catch over on the Cherry, but Cherry responds back with the Cyclone. J-Team going to top up health with the Redemption here, fighting back against Flash Wolves.
Another pause. Oh no.
It's an intense moment.
That is a very
right
intense
before
moment.
the fight starts.
That was right before it was about to start as well. That was so sad. Unfortunately, another pause. But yeah, so J-Team in the end, they're just like, okay, we don't want to trade the Rift Herald because they already took so many towers. You know, at the point in the game when you take all the outer towers, it's kind of difficult to take Rift Herald and try and go for the inner towers and the inhibitor towers because, like I said, because of the wave clear that also Flash Wolves have at the same time. You know, they have the Ziggs, they have the Corki, and they can't really do much with a Rift Herald. So instead, they're like, okay, we're going to fight you instead. We got that gold lead, and we're going to fight you instead. And they tried to go in. Cherry used his ultimate there as well. So there was a lot of big ultimates used. Redemption was used. Cherry's ultimate was used as well. So Flash Wolves could look to, when this pause comes back, look to try and maybe counter-engage afterwards.
Perhaps here, that could be the case. We just saw, I believe it was Bruce's ultimate coming through as well at the same time. And so maybe with that additional damage, it might rally Flash Wolves to go in for a counter-engage, fight for the Infernal Drake, knowing that there is a possibility that they get to steal that one away and maybe gain an advantage off of that.
The difficult part for Flash Wolves is trying to win a 5 versus 5 fight. I feel like if it comes into a situation where it's a 5 versus 5 fight, I feel like J-Team will pretty much have it every single time, unless you can just protect the Ziggs and the Corki in the backline, and if they can do enough damage, then you can do really well. They do have the front line as well, you know, from the Alistar and from the Garen. They do have that front line protection, but on the side of J-Team, you know, you have the Lucian, you have the Lux, you have the Darius as well, who could potentially get resets at the same time. So it's really hard, especially with the gold deficit that the Flash Wolves have going into the Dragon.
You can see that for a moment. We have Bruce on your screens, the ultimate villain in the WCS at the very least. You know, because he's like,
really?
Because it's not because he does bad things, but it's like every time you know you think you get away with stuff. You know, he's like that, like the villain at the end where he spins around his like solo chair, and you see him for the last time, and then you just go, oh my god, my plans are ruined. And then that's kind of Bruce.
Is that Bruce?
That's kind of Bruce. And he's got that
he escapes away with like 1 HP every single time. And he just.
And he's got that cool, collected look. You know, he's kind of looking at you intensely, and you kind of feel that pressure. Yeah, it's Bruce.
That is Bruce.
I'm sure you guys will see it. The moment he's on your screen, you'll be like, yeah, that's Bruce.
That's it. He's the main villain. But yeah,
nice to take down J-Team.
Yeah, the next one on the list. Bruce is just ticking off all the targets on his list, and J-Team is the next one.
Oh, absolutely.
But unfortunately, they are still 2-1 down. They do still have to win this game, and they are behind in this game as well. So it's going to be difficult for them to try and come back. But currently, is 2-1 to J-Team in this best of 5 series, and we're on a bit of a tech pause at the moment. So hopefully, we should be back to game fairly shortly. Look at that, just calmness. I feel like if you do that sometimes, you feel like you just fall asleep. If you're just laying back on your chair, you close your eyes.
With comfy chairs.
Yeah, with comfy chairs like that as well.
That's true. That's true.
I would fall asleep.
Not when the fight's about to start, sir. Did you see where we paused
You don't know how long the break's going to be, do you? You don't know how long the tech pause is going to be.
I'll tell you what. Since I don't know how long the tech pause is going to be, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind in this series for a long time now, since game 1, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it because I felt it was too... I mean, we already talked about a lot of things, but since we have this tech pause, I'll take this opportunity.
Okay.
Do you feel like Darius and Garen have done... Do you feel like Darius and Garen have had, like, cross-cultural exchanges in the world of Runeterra, where they learn each other's martial arts? Because you think about it, they are very similar, right? You have 2 spinning spells, right?
Okay.
Garen has a spinning spell, Darius has a spinning spell, but they do kind of slightly different things, right? The second spell is kind of like some kind of empowerment, but Garen's for yourself because you're like, yeah, I'm the best, and then Darius is like, no, I'm going to destroy you. So it's like slightly different takes on that, but it's like a personal belief kind of
They both
thing.
have dunks.
They both have dunks.
They both have God King skins.
Right? Because we know how close they are, right? Demacia and Noxious, of course, are going to have that. But we have so many things that are like going for both sides. You feel like, you know, they feel like when they're little kids, like they maybe learn from like the same martial arts instructor. I need an expansion from this. I need an expansion on this in the world of Runeterra, please.
We need the backstory. We need someone to come in with story time.
Yeah, like every time I see Darius and Garen, like Sarah's playing the Garen right now, and we have up in the top side Dawn playing the Darius. I just wonder, like, they look at each other's martial arts and wonder, like, yeah, why are you ripping my martial art off?
Demacia against Noxus.
Right? Like, surely. You know, like, there's certain set things that need to be done.
That's true, though. That's true. They both are very similar, actually, thinking about it. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something.
I feel like I am onto something. Maybe somewhere in some room right now, a writer is listening to me and going, "Man, he is exposing the script to our Noxious v Demacia story time."
The script has been unrevealed. Unlucky.
As they both train in a training arc to get to like absolute power, like the pinnacles of like Demacia and Noxian.
They're trying their best. I feel like we see a lot
so
of
glad I got that
Darius.
out.
I feel like we get a lot of like Darius versus Garen as well.
Yeah.
We saw it quite a lot. It's like Darius versus Garen. It's like one person wants to be like, okay, I'm going to show you the might of Demacia. And then Darius is like, the might of Noxus.
Yeah, right? I feel like I'm so glad I got this out. It's been on my mind since game 1. And feels good to get it out. Get out of my system, you know? Well, I am getting word that we are resolving Ysera's audio issues, so once we have that result, we'll get back into the game, which looks to be right now.
Right into the fight.
We join back in. Redemption is going to be used again by J-Team, trying to top them up so they can fight for the Infernal Drake. Kali going to be used on the side of Pan to try and deter Flash, but Flash was still tanky and still healthy, want to fight for this.
There's a lot of ultimates. Yeeson doesn't have ultimate. Bruce doesn't have ultimate on the Ziggs. There's a few ultimates down. Pan is split from the rest of his team as well, so Flash Wolves could look to start this dragon, but it's going to reset.
Cherry backs away.
Oh,
Dawn wants to
no.
move back in. The dragon resets just in time for Flash Wolves. J-Team get to continue contesting this. Pan still over by the back, gets caught out, spotted out by the opposing team. Cherry moving on to the dragon. It goes over to Flash Wolves. They are able to secure it in time. They look to take down Eason. Get the first reset across. Dawn with the ultimate still available. The might of Noxus coming into play sends Flash Wolves back.
Noxus comes out on top this time. Might even get a triple kill now as well. Cookie is in a world of trouble. Still has the reset. There we go. Killing spree, triple kill. Oh no, we get another dunk. This time it's
response from
Ysera.
Ysera, and one more auto attack. No relentless pursuit. The Flash held onto by Pan.
Dunk City at the moment. Everyone's dunking. Darius, Garen, everyone's dunking at the moment. But that's a win over to the side of J-Team though. Even though they lost the Drake in the end, they lost the Drake. Flash Wolves did lose a few kills. They lost a few towers as well at the same time. And again, it's J-Team, the ones with an 8,000 goal lead at the moment. 6,000, sorry, goal lead at the moment.
Rift Herald also looking to be picked up here by J-Team. They might have lost the Dragon, but looking to try and recoup their losses here with the Rift Herald. They got that mid-side turret. It's not the end of the world here, but Flash Wolves with a little bit more scaling in their back pocket.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like with this Rift Herald as well, it will be quite difficult for J-Team to try and use this Rift Herald because you already have, you know, the mid lane inner tower taken down. You still have the Baron lane and the bot lane tower, which is still open for J-Team to try and use it, or use a Rift Herald. So the way that I could see J-Team using this Rift Herald is trying to win one more team fight and maybe just ending the game, to be honest. Because what they could do is, if the J-Team win one more team fight, if they have the mid lane priority, and if they have the mid lane pushing power, if they just use Rift Herald, they can easily take that first tower and easily take the Nexus. So if you're Flash Wolves right now, be really careful, and you have to make sure that you have mid lane priority and mid lane pushing power this entire time. You can see already Dawn already pushing down that mid wave, and it could be a way now with the Rift Herald open to try and break that inhibitor tower.
Yeah, it does look to be a major vulnerability for Flash Wolves, so they constantly have to rotate between mid and something else, and they move together as that 5-man. So looking to try and win out those fights. J-Team, on the other hand, now get to have some decent control around the Baron. Flash Wolves are able to sneak that away the last game. This time around, not going to be so simple.
So J-Team are going to look to try and split up the map again. They're going to try and look to get control of the jungle like they always do. Pan is by himself at the moment, has the whole breaker, so he's going to be split pushing with that as well, getting the extra resistances. And look at the mid lane already. You can see that both Bayer and Bruce has to stay in the mid lane, has to make sure, not Bayer, sorry, both Bruce and, who else is there? Can't see the icon behind. Oh, it's Cookie. Both Bruce and Cookie have to defend the mid lane because one Rift Herald push and a few auto attacks from the Lucian could mean that inhibitor just gets taken down. And again, this is what J-Team do so well. They're just like, okay, Flash Wolves, you can't even move out of your own base. You can't even move out of your own towers. We're just going to take control of the jungle. We're just going to kind of suffocate you in terms of, you know, how much vision you can get and whereabouts you can move to. Instead, they're going to go look for the engage.
Han very quickly gets a reset on the Relentless Pursuit to dash away from the fight. And you can start to see here, J-Team honestly having difficulty taking down this inner tier turret in the top side, right? Flash was with amazing wave clear, and J-Team finally losing patience. We used the Rift turret, commit this one to take this turret down.
Yeah, so instead of taking the mid lane inhibitor, like you said, I feel like they're struggling a little bit to take this inner tower in the top side. So they're just going to use it for that instead. I think this is completely fine as well. Just get more towers, accelerate that goal lead as well. They're currently 5 towers to 1, and they're going for an engage.
Looking for a pickup here, and a flash fall here from Barry, misses out the light binding, but doesn't really matter because Cookie still goes down. Unfortunately, Dawn does not get the reset, but DY gets to join back in with his ultimate again, and that is a pick off onto the jungler.
That means they're going to be able to take the bot lane tier 2 tower now as well. That's 6 towers over to the side of J-Team. They've taken all the towers except for the inhibitor towers. So even though Flash Wolves, they do have the wave clear with the Corki, with the Ziggs, I feel like Flash Wolves are just going to be stuck under their own base now. They're going to struggle to even move out of their base. And again, you can see J-Team, if you see the vision on the minimap right now, there's so many deep wards. So as soon as Flash Wolves look to move out of their base, straight away, you know, J-Team can be like, okay, we know where everyone is on the map. And you can see in this exact situation, this is exactly what's going to happen. You can see Pan is actually the one with the most goal in the team at the moment. Again, it's the solo lanes this time. So it's not actually Barry this time being the ones that's doing, you know, I mean, he's still doing a great job. It's actually the solo laners this time. It's actually, you know, Dawn, 5-1-1, and also Pan, which is now 2-0-4. So J-Team showing that it's not only Barry that we need to carry, it's the extra MVP performances from the likes of Dawn and Pan at the same time.
And incredible solo lanes, I mean, just incredible laners all around from J-Team, having that flexibility. They can play for anyone across the map, across the board. And now with Baron up and Elder Drake spawning in under 10 seconds, Flash Wolves need to make that stand, fight back against J-Team, lest to get taken down and lose this game in its entirety.
Yeah, you can see the sweepers being used at the moment. Just the vision is being completely taken out at the moment for J-Team, for Flash Wolves. You know, J-Team are just walking along. They're just taking their time. They don't need to be over-aggressive or anything. Look at this. They don't even have vision at all of Flash Wolves. They're just like, we're just going to go forward.
This is a little bit bad for Bruce. He's going to have to flash away, gets to move away from the Apprehend, so he dodges Dawn for now. Apprehend finally comes through. It lands on the East. East already used his flash earlier on. The bite coming comes through.
There's a reset.
The dump and the true damage out from Dawn. They take down 2 targets. Flash Wolves down 2 members.
And again, this is what J-Team, they do it so well. They didn't have any vision at all, I believe, of any Flash Wolves members. They were just like, okay, we're just going to play aggressive. We're going to move as a unit. And Bruce was the one, again, which was a little bit overstepped. And they're just like, okay, we're going to catch up Bruce. We're going to take the team fight. And that's because of all the towers that J-Team had taken in this game. It means that Flash Wolves, they have nothing to fall back on. And they can't give this Elder Dragon for free. But Cookie, he can't get even close to the Dragon Pit.
DY is a brick wall in his face
missed
right
the jump.
now. Won't be able to get away. Cookie might get taken down. The Winston wall tagging him, but the flash still up for Cookie. He holds on to it, saves it for another fight.
I feel like at this point, it's going to be really difficult for Flash Wolves to get back into this. Now, Elder Dragon has now been taken down. Mountain Dragon's been taken down as well. But again, this is with J-Team having no vision. They're just walking around as 3 units. And look, there's no towers to fall back on except for the inhibitor. Flash goes down by Bruce, Flash goes down by Eason, and then after that you can see the J-Team can just play with a lot of confidence. The resets for Dawn as well, being able to get the multiple dunks on for Darius, and that means that they can turn back and take the Elder Dragon. And with Elder Dragon, at this point in the game, it's so difficult for Flash Wolves to come back. You know, the Elder Dragon just does so much damage. And again, you know, J-Team, they're just going to make sure that Flash Wolves, they can't move out their base.
Flash Wolves are desperately trying to clear out waves here, Stuart.
Yep.
You talked about how they need to deal with the mid wave, they need to deal with the top side wave now as well. This bot side now slowly stacking towards their end. And J-Team, they have Baron in their sights.
They can honestly just turn towards Baron if they want to, but again, you know, J-Team is not a team that likes to risk these big objectives. They're not like Flash Wolves like in the previous game where they try and just sneak away the Baron, because they know that, you know, if Flash Wolves do take the Baron...
Actually.
Oh, okay, they actually start. Okay.
I think they might be starting with Cherry and Pan.
I think they're just duoing it, but this is a situation where Flash Wolves, they can't do anything. You can see it's already down to half health.
There we
Bruce
go.
does use the ultimate, but again, they're just turning away from it. They're actually going to look for the fight instead.
They jump in, DY comes through the taunt, but the Hourglass comes across as well. They manage to buy some time. Sarah flashes away over the back line. Barry finds his first kill. DY comes back in with his ultimate. J-Team pick a 1 and move on to the Baron.
Yep, they're going to move towards the Baron now. That is the jungler down, which means there's less and less chance for Flash Wolves to steal away this Baron. They're going to take this with pretty much ease, and it's what J-Team does so well. They don't risk the 50-50. They're like, okay, Flash Wolves, you need to come to us. You need to stop this Baron, but we're just going to turn it around as well. And that's exactly what they do. They take the Baron, they've got the Elder, and it's just a matter of time now, Grandin, before they end this series.
J-Team in an incredibly dominant position from games 1 and 2. Carry that forward into game 4. We don't talk about game 3. That one doesn't. That one was an interesting situation. Flash Wolves looked like they had something going for them, but J-Team responds so quickly back again. First inhibitor goes down. Second inhibitor goes down. J-Team on the cusp of victory.
Yep, all they need to do now, go back to base, use that money that you just got from the towers, from the Baron as well, and all you need to do now is just group towards the bot side. You know, get Pan in the side lane, get Pan in the top side of the map, use that whole breaker to push down the minions with the Baron buff, and then the rest of the team move down into the bot side. Take that third inhibitor down. Obviously, in Wild Rift, the inhibitors will not respawn. That means there's going to be constant super minions the entire time, which means that there's just going to be more wave clear that Flash Wolves need to do, and it just makes it harder for them to escape. But now you can see it's actually DY split pushing. Didn't really expect that to happen, but okay.
Well,
I guess it could also work. You know,
if he
the
gets the
split
job
push.
done.
Yeah, it gets the job done. It gets the job done. But you can see that most of the members are grouping towards his bot side, as I mentioned, and Barry's just throwing out throwing out the ultimate for Lux, but now his Flash Wolves trying to look for Death Brush. But to be honest, I don't even think you win this.
They walk in on the Cherry, but DY very quickly joins back in on the fight, pulling
Beautiful
in with the
hooks.
upper hand, flashes forward, tags Ysera in time. Cherry's clone takes Ysera's ultimate in his stead. J-Team making their claim as one of the best teams in the world with a masterful showing against Flash Wolves, taking down Ysera.
Yeah, they're going to take down all 3 inhibitors now. There's 1 dead on the side of Flash Wolves. It's currently 4 versus 4. Cherry is down, but they're going to look to end.
Nearly taking down Bruce. The laser comes across, but Bruce gets back to the fountain in time. Right at outside their base, Flash Wolves watch as J-Team run them down. The Winds of War come through. Dawn not able to finish off that final kill, but J-Team with a masterful showing, a 3-1 against Flash Wolves.
Overall, a very, very dominating performance by J-Team. Like I said, we don't really talk about the third game. I feel like the third team, they were kind of testing their limits a little bit, but games 1, 2, and 4, they showed that they are such a dominant team. They play so well as a team. They play so well grouped up as 5. And that's exactly what they did in this entire series. They controlled the map, and Flash Wolves, they really, really struggled in this series. But fair play to J-Team. You know, moving into the semi-finals now, top 4. And that's 3 out of the 4 Chinese teams now in the semi-finals.
And each one with their own personality
Yes.
as well, right? And the fact that we get to see J-Team coming in here, a team that is well stacked throughout the board, right? 5 members coming in here. You're gonna have the top side do well. Dawn could be popping off, or it could be Cherry, or it could be Pan, it could be Barry. You could have DY split pushing in the side lane. You know, it doesn't really matter. J-Team are a team that does it all.
I think that's the great thing about J-Team is that J-Team is not focused on the one carry. You know, we talk about maybe Nova, for example. You know, Long is their main carry. I feel like J-Team don't really have that one person as their main carry. Like you said, they can put it on multiple hands. We saw Barry have a really good performance. We also saw Dawn in this game have a really good performance. Pan in the mid lane as well on that Lucian, also incredible performance. But look, they're calm, they're relaxed. They're just like, okay, another day at the office. On to the semi-finals we go.
All right. No esports pose.
Hands by the side.
Hands by the sides, hands behind their backs.
Also esports pose?
Sure, very respectful. The respectful esports pose, right? This is the standard esports pose and the respectful esports pose.
And then Flash was like this.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe you just did that, Stuart. D-God, quick, you have to save us, D-God. D-God, move it on. We didn't go off to the AD. Quick.
No, Stuart, live with that one. That was mean.
I like that.
Hey, guys, great cast on the day as J-Team booked their ticket to the semifinals over Flash Wolves in a 4-game series. That final one taking a little bit longer as J-Team wanted to check off all the boxes, and they were able to do so with comfort. It was another early lead for them. They sat on it for a little while, and it all goes back to the first Dragon fight where it felt like Flash Wolves wanted to force something that didn't work out. They fell behind and never found another way back on in.
And when we look at the composition of J-Team, it's very tank heavy, right? There's a lot of people that can soak the poke from the Corki, from the Void Spikes, from the Ziggs, and it makes things difficult to finish off targets. And if you don't finish targets, you don't win the team fight. And if you don't win the team fight, J-Team wins.
Omo?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think all credits to J-Team as well for their fantastic methodical performance this series. But at the end of the day, it's just a very Flash Wolf showing, isn't it? We said at the start when we were first talking about Flash Wolves, they're always going to beat teams that are worse than them, but they're never going to beat a team that's better than them. And that's kind of what we saw here today as well. No wild cards, no cheesy plays, nothing out of the ordinary.
I will say the first game was a wild card. The Vayne was a wild card. It was a bad wild card.
Yeah.
You like reversed yourself. Bam.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, you know, one reversal that's a card that gets played is the Omo curse, and I think we have a clip of that here.
Oh.
Omo cursing our next game. Let's take a listen.
Flash Wolves have been the game 3 or game 5 kings in every tournament they play, basically. I think this entire year, they haven't lost a single series that went to match point. So if they win this next game, I don't want to say they can reverse sweep that. I don't want to jinx anything here, but they could do it. They could not do it. Spoiler.
No.
All right, Omo, again,
Yeah.
see, the Omo curse is real. Be careful if he chooses to like you on the day. That's a little scary.
I'll be sure not to say anything good about Team Flash later.
Okay,
Wow.
okay, that's an agreement. We have decided already.
We have decided it'll
No,
be
no.
Riku talking about Team Flash.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
talk about JDG.
Yeah, I don't have the curse, so it's fine.
All right, done it. With that win, we've got ourselves the updated bracket. Again, 2 teams already waiting on one side of the bracket in Nova Esports and Fun Plus Phoenix. J-Team booked their ticket on through, and now there's only one more spot left. And will this be it? Is this going to be in the first ever Icons Global Championship in Wild Rift Esports, a 4-team WRL semifinals?
Okay, I'm giggling because off camera, Omo is basically shaking his head, so I'm just gonna say it. I think it's gonna be a yes. I think it is going to be Team Flash moving forward. Spoilers on my prediction, but I gotta say it.
Your prediction?
My prediction, exactly.
I can't say anything.
Exactly, that's why. That's why I had to say
Sorry,
it.
I can't.
It's just,
I'm
you
saying
know
it
what?
for you now.
The curse will take a little bit of a cool down as we head on over
Is
to
that how
a
it
break
works?
in just a little bit. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Team Flash versus Jindong Gaming, JD Gaming, as Flash's jungler Zissou is very honest about his team's play thus far and their chances to take down the WRL.
Mình là Jisoo, người đi đường của Team Flash đại diện cho WCS. Bọn em cảm thấy khá là vui với lại một chút lo lắng vì sắp tới gặp đội top 2 Trung Quốc. Chắc là training nhiều với lại chuẩn bị tốt hết sức có thể thôi. Em nóng lòng gặp các đội tuyển WRL là bởi vì em thấy đội em có khả năng có thể đánh bại được họ và chứng minh cho thế giới biết khu vực bọn em không có yếu. Mình nghĩ các đội đến từ WRL không quá đáng sợ bởi vì mình và team mình có cơ hội đánh bại được họ nếu như team mình cố gắng. Bước vào vòng playoff thì bọn em sẽ cố gắng hết sức để có mặt tại trận chung kết để không phụ lòng các bạn hâm mộ. Xin chào JD Gaming, bọn mình chắc chắn sẽ đánh bại các bạn.
There's something about games.
What you doing there gives you real chills.
There is one thing that can't be stopped.
Feelings.